Morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 21st Virginia Gas and Oil Board hearings uh, being held today at the WISE offices of the Virginia Department of Energy. Remind everyone that these proceedings are being recorded, and to please silence your cell phones. And if you need to take a call, to please take that out in the hallway. Also, the people who are joining us by video today, if you will remain on mute until you are participating in any of the docket items, and to also try to remember to engage your video when you are participating. This time, I'll ask the board members who are present here today go ahead and introduce themselves. Starting down here with Mr. Patrick.
Patrick Owens, public member, and Mr. Chairman, as usual, I have a conflict to declare on docket items 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. As a company that I own has a business relationship with an interested party.
Dennis Sutherland, all representative.
My name is Gus Jansen. I'm also a public member and serving as the chairman of that board.
Lawton Mullins, industry representative. Mr. Chairman, I also need to declare a conflict on items 5 through 9 due to a business relationship with one of the interested parties.
Mary Gibson, public member.
Willie Cochran, Virginia Energy member.
Is that Mr. Harris who just joined us? Mr. Harris, is that you that just joined the meeting? Okay, if he joins here, we'll back up and do that. We also have with us today Ms. Jessica Cooper, representing the Attorney General's office, and we have various members of the Department of Energy staff here in support of the board's functions today. So item number 1 was the resolution for any board members who were wanting to attend the meeting remotely. At this point, we do not have anyone, so we'll move on to item number 2. This time, the board will receive public comments. If anybody signed up for public comment or anybody in the audience who wishes to speak to the board today under the public comment section of the meeting. Okay, seeing none, we'll move to item number 3. The First Bank and Trust Company, escrow agent for the Virginia Gas and Oil Board, will appear to address the board on the quarterly report for January through March of 2026. Ms. Mady, I believe you're with us remotely today.
I am. I'm in Abingdon today. Good morning.
Good morning. You may begin. I believe all board members have the package that you sent us. Dates.
Okay, good. So we'll start out this morning on our summary on page 3. This is for our first quarter, so this is January through March 2026. We started out with a beginning balance on the first of the year of $4,611,361.32. We had deposits for the quarter of $27,413.58. We earned a total of $17,901.80. Fees deducted were $4,618.12, and we had distributions for the quarter of $22,330.46, leaving us a total for March 31st of $4,629,728.12. So far in 2026, we've processed 6 dockets that totaled $22,330.46. We have issued over 190 checks so far that range from 8 cents to $2,707.30. Out of those 190 checks, over 160 of them were less than $100. We have not processed any Treasury dockets for 2026 at this time. Now, our outstanding checklist is large this time, but we processed a couple of dockets that had a large number of people on it in late March. So those checks at the end of March had not cleared yet. So I anticipate this being smaller at the next quarterly meeting and those checks being cleared. So we have on page 7, the end of the outstanding checks, we have a little over $14,000 outstanding at this point. But again, several of those checks were issued mid to late March. On page 8, this is our balance sheet. This is only for the month of March. This lists each individual account number, each unit, their beginning balance, the deposits that they received for the month of March, if any, the interest earned, money market and CD interest, fees that were deducted, any distributions for that month, any transfers to the No W-9 spreadsheet. There's been no audit costs, no corrections this month, and then the ending balance for each individual account and the status of the whale. So that goes through page 14. Page 15 is our small No W-9 list. We have 4 people still on it. 3 of those are deceased. So I know the gas companies is working diligently to find the heirs of these individuals, and once they have W-9s for the heirs, then we will submit to them personally. So that's a total of $901.84 in the No W-9 account right now. Page 16 is our annual distributions since First Bank and Trust became the escrow agent in 2010. And then the graph on the side showing our income, what distributions, and then the net effect of it. Page 17 is the investment of funds. At the end of March, we had a little over $2 million in money market and the remainder in CDs. And as you'll see, some of those CDs, one matured today, and $750,000 of them will mature over the next few days. So we'll have some more money in that money market account to invest in more CDs if you wish. Page 18 is our rate comparisons. Everything's holding pretty steady. There's a little bit of fluctuation, but not a tremendous amount as compared to the January meeting. And then the last page is our CD rate ranges for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 18 months, and on out to 2 years. And there's not a lot of interest difference between the 12 months and the 2 years. Really between 9 months and 2 years. The rates are remaining about the same. Any questions?
Any questions from the board on any of the information provided today? I believe we need to have a quick discussion on reinvestment of the, I guess it's about $1 million of CDs that will be coming due this month.
Yes, 1 million.
My preference would be to just go ahead and reinvest that into a CD for another 12 months. Do we have any other input from board members?
I agree with that. If we could get closer to the 3.95 than the 3.8. Since we're, I mean, it doesn't vary that much. I mean, it is what it is, but if we're gonna commit to 12, giving them $1 million.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to that effect, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. So that directs you, Ms. Maney, to go ahead and reinvest all those CDs expiring in April for another 1-year term for 12 months, the CDs.
Okay, we can do that.
Good. Anything else? Any further discussion on the bank's report? Thank you again, Ms. Maney. Continue to do an excellent job
Thank
serving the
you all.
board
I
with this
appreciate
escrow account. We'll talk to you in a few months.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda for today is a petition from Pocahontas Gas LLC for the disbursement of escrow funds hereto deposited with the board's escrow account attributable to tracks 2L, 2M, 2N, 2O, 2P, 2Q, and 3 is depicted on the annex table, and authorization to pay escrow royalty payments to the royalty split between James McGuire Land Trust, Pocahontas Gas, and authorization to pay escrow royal directly to a number of other parties there. This is docket number VGOB 93-0216-0330-08. All parties who wish to speak to this item, please come forward and identify yourself.
Mark Swartz and Kelly Berry.
And you want to swear in the witness, Ms. Gilbert?
Ms. Berry, you swear or affirm that your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
You may begin,
Kelly,
Mr.
could you-
Schwartz.
Thank you. Kelly, could you state your full name for us, please?
Kelly Berry.
Who do you work for?
I work for CNX Gas Company LLC, appearing on behalf of Pocahontas Gas LLC.
Okay, in this application, this first one that we're talking about today pertains to unit P as in Paul 40, correct?
That's correct.
And it's a request to allow us to disperse some money from escrow to authorize direct payment going forward of royalties, and then a confirmation with regard to dismissal of coal owners, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, the factual basis for this request today is, first of all, we've got a royalty split agreement, right?
Yes,
Have you reviewed that?
yes,
Is it a 50-50 agreement?
yes, it is.
Okay, and then we have a disbursement based on the Virginia Gas and Oil Act to gas claimants, and you've listed those.
Yes,
Okay, and then in the distant past, and we'll get to that, we gave notice to coal owners requesting documentation if they had any claims, and what happened in that regard.
there were no other claims other than the one royalty split.
Okay, and that was provided by the McGuire Land Trust, correct?
Yes,
Okay, moving forward then, this is one of those situations where we have not one disbursement table, but two, I think, yes. If you go to PDF page number 8, I believe, yes. We have a table 1, correct?
yes, we do.
And why do we need a table 1?
We are paying prior owners for tracks 2L, 2M, 2N, and 2P.
Okay, and have you identified all of the prior owners who would be receiving a disbursement from the bank under table 1 by name and address on this exhibit?
Yes,
And this is an exhibit that requires the bank to pay an amount that's actually set forth on the exhibit as opposed to calculated amount. Is that true?
that's correct.
Okay, and is the amount, the dollar amount in the far right hand, on the far right hand column of this exhibit under the heading disbursement, is that the precise amount that the bank should use to make these table 1 payments?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Table 1 payments.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then we get to PDF page 10. Get to PDF page 10. And this is a table 2, correct?
Yes, it is.
This is a table 2, correct? I don't know why we're hearing this twice, but
It's delayed feedback on one on the bottom corner if you want to do it, Sarah.
okay. And is table 2 a percentage?
Yes, it is.
And in essence, table 2, we'll strike that. Should the board order provide here that the bank that the escrow agent make the table 1 payments before making the calculations required by table 2?
Yes,
Because the balance will change.
yes, it will. Those amounts paid on table 1 need to be deducted from the current balances before the percentage is applied.
Okay. And then in dispersing under table 2, have you provided the name and address of all parties or persons and companies that should receive payments under the percentage table?
Yes,
And at the time that these disbursements are made from escrow, the board should provide that the escrow agent take the percentage that you've identified in the percent of escrow funds column, apply that to the then balance, total balance in the account, and that will generate an amount.
yes, that's correct.
And the bank should not be using the dollar amounts in the far right-hand column. Those are just an indication of what would have happened in the event the disbursements had been made in the past.
Yes,
Okay. And then you've got a couple comments on PDF page 11. And that confirms that the table 1 payment should be made first, and then you've identified the wells that have contributed to this escrow account, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. This is good news here. The next page, Exhibit E, escrow will be concluded by this.
Yes, this disbursement will close the escrow account for this unit.
Okay. And then Exhibit EE is the payment plan going forward.
Yes,
And part of the relief we've requested here is to be able to do that.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, then we get to Exhibit J, which is starts at PDF page 20. And what have you done here?
We have compared all of the deposits into the escrow account from our records to the bank records and indicated in yellow highlight if there are inconsistencies in the amounts, and indicated with a dark black box if you add amounts together on one side that they equal an amount on the other side.
Okay, and we've got some examples of that on the very first page. For example, 3/25/1996, you have 2 cells outlined in dark, right?
Yes,
And then in the escrow royalty deposits column, which comes a little bit further to the right, you've got 1 entry outlined in dark highlight. And does that indicate that if you total the amounts in the first entries that we've talked about, you come up with the amount of $8,010.98?
yes, that's correct.
And does that highlighting in terms of outlining cells and or coloring them yellow, does that continue through the document?
Yes,
And just to be sure, if it's in yellow, that means you can't reconcile it by simple math.
correct.
Okay. And then as we work through this, we see some more examples early on. But after the first few pages, it looks like the numbers agree
Yes,
for a number of years, correct?
yes,
And then the last page, which is PDF page 27, you've done a calculation and come up with sort of a predicted balance. And what is that?
$66,817.54.
And you've compared that to a bank balance.
Yes,
And what's the difference?
the difference is the bank balance is $3.80 less.
And that could be accounted for by fees, could be accounted for by some of the discrepancies we can't reconcile, but we are within roughly $500.
Yes,
Okay. And then coming back to the issue of dismissal, the statute, the act requires us to give notice to coal claimants to come up with proof that they actually have a claim against the CBM, correct?
that's correct.
And is PDF page 28 a copy of the notice that was sent here to some coal owners?
Yes, it is.
And these owners actually responded and came up with a split agreement, a royalty split agreement, which in fact protected some of their coal interests, but not all.
That's correct.
And so to the extent the royalty split agreement applies, we are not asking to dismiss the James McGuire Land Trust, but to the extent the royalty split agreement did not apply to all of their coal interests in terms of CBM claims, we are requesting that the James McGuire Land Trust be dismissed.
That's correct.
Okay. And confirming that this happened a long time ago, the last page, I think PDF page 29, is actually your certificate with regard to when you mailed and the fact that they received the mail.
Yes.
Okay. And then we've actually got a dismissal of Joe Keith Smith as well, because he never responded.
Right.
Okay. I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any questions for the board? Do we have a motion to approve this docket item?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Gilmore, you poll the board, please.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Sutherland,
Yes.
Mr. Mullins,
Yes.
Mrs. Gibson.
Yes.
Mr. Cochran,
Yes.
and Mr. Jansen.
Yes. That motion is approved. That application is approved, Ms. Schwartz. Before we move on, the person who is logged in video link identified as phone number 276-935-6500. You may need to mute your phone line.
Excuse me, that may be me. Can you say that again, please?
935-6500.
Yes, that's Buchanan County. I'm Lawrence Moise, the county attorney.
Okay, can you mute your line unless you're participating in the docket items? We've got you flashing on our screen here, and I'm not sure if it's giving any feedback or not.
Okay, I will attempt to do so.
Thank you. Okay. So that concludes all the items on this month's docket. We'll now enter back into our formal hearing regarding docket items that have been continued from the February meeting, I believe.
Yes.
So just sort of to bring us up to date to where we are here. I'll try to summarize this, and then if I've missed anything, any of the parties can step in, make sure we get back on track where we were at before. Docket night item BGOB 2507-15-315 for unit E36 was withdrawn for the petitioner, so it's no longer part of the formal hearing process. Docket number BGOB 2507-15-4317 for unit E36. That testimony was completed in the prior hearing date.
38.
38, I'm sorry, yeah. And then also for VGOB 2507-15-4313 and at F36, the testimony was also completed on that docket item. We were on VGOB 25-1021-4322. We entered into the continuation for the notice issue. That was regarding F-36. I believe we had testimony from Diversified Energy regarding ownership, reserves, the drilling costs, and we were on the issues associated with the cost and allocation of cost and payments associated with the long wall panel. When we entered into some discrepancies in the calculations there, and that's when we entered into the continuance to get those things corrected and to reissue notice to the parties involved. Is there anything else that need to address before we reconvene the formal hearing?
Mr. Chairman, there were some changes made to our application, and so we're probably going to, if it's okay with the board, start from the beginning with F-36 and just explain to the board why those changes were made, and then go from there. I think it will take away some confusion.
Okay, that's fine.
With that.
Okay, that'd be good. Witnesses are, we need to re-swear them after 2 minutes, or do we? Are they still under?
Attorneys only.
I mean,
We-
witnesses.
Witnesses.
You have new witnesses? Okay, you want to just identify all your witnesses?
Mr. Todd Tedrick, and he's out here in person, and then Mr. Jonathan Hess. Stay with me.
And you also have Mr. Davis. Do you just want to swear them all in again right now before we begin?
Davis.
No, sorry. David.
So what was his first name?
Jason.
Jason. Okay. Mr. Tedrick, Mr. Hess, and Mr. Davis, do you swear and affirm your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Gilmore, it's David's son.
Davis.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and follow the docket item again, just to be sure that we're all on board here. Petition from Diversified Production for pooling under liquid coal bed methane gas field number 2, unit F-36, docket number VGOB 25-1021-4322. All parties who wish to speak this matter, please come forward.
This is Mr. Tedrick. We might have to listen to him for that.
Mark Swartz eventually.
That's Mike's real quick there.
He may, when his turn is.
Sarah, can you hear me okay from over here? Okay. I did some stage. I can project if I need to. Just tell me to be quiet. I mean, louder. Or quiet if you need me. Mr. Tedrick, can you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. Larry Todd, teacher.
Okay, and who do you work for?
I work for Diversified Energy Company.
How long have you worked for for Diversified?
I have worked for Diversified about 6 years.
6 years. And what do you do for Diversified?
I am their Senior Vice President of Upstream Operations and also retirement at Appalachia.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about Diversified and their work here in Southwest Virginia?
Yes, Diversified is a publicly traded oil and gas company on the U.S. Exchange, corporate headquarters in Birmingham, significant presence in Appalachia. We have offices in Oakwood, Virginia, and Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Current enterprise value of about $3.8 billion. 2026 projected EBITDA of just under $1 billion. Since 2018, we have acquired 22, we transacted on 22 significant acquisitions, have over 2,000 employees across the United States, operate just over 70,000 wells, have a midstream business that supports that upstream business that is comprised of over 22,000 miles of pipeline infrastructure and over 400,000 horsepower of compression. Company currently produces about 26,500 barrels of oil per day, over 800 million cubic feet of natural gas per day, and about 24,000 barrels of natural gas liquids per day. In Virginia, we do have over 800 wells, roughly about 118 CBM wells. In Appalachia, we do actually have over 1,000 CBM wells. So again, very significant presence in Virginia already.
Okay, and you said about 800 wells here in Virginia. What about across your country? How many wells do you produce gas from across the
Over 70,000 wells.
70,000 wells? Okay, so you had told us your title before. What do your job duties include in Diversified?
So I oversee all upstream production operations across Appalachia. That's 7 states, about 55,000 wells in Appalachia. Have 550 employees under my umbrella of responsibility. And then also our well retirement activities. Next Level Energy is another business unit that I oversee. We have about 200 employees with that business, and that it's about 25 plugging crews that we're running in Appalachia to oversee our plugging efforts.
Okay, so you have an extensive knowledge over the operations and the producing of gas.
I do.
Okay. So you are aware that we're before the board today on some applications to produce gob wells.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever produced a gob well before?
I have not.
Okay, but with your extensive background, do you feel like you guys are capable of producing gob well
Absolutely.
gas?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
about short hole gas?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you know that with this particular application, F-36, we have filed a well cost sheet. We're gonna have Mr. Hess up here later to go through the numbers. But can you explain to us what you go through to produce those calculations?
Yes, essentially, we will reference historical drilling cost of public information. We will have conversations with various vendors, service providers, material providers, and develop, based off the procedure that's necessary, the casing program that's necessary, an estimate of the various costs and services, and build that into an AFE.
Okay. And when you talk about service providers, what kind of service providers do you work with in the area?
Drilling contractors such as Noah Horn, Gasco Drilling, casing equipment suppliers such as Miller Supply, McJunkin. We have other casing supply companies that we work with. Construction companies, Western Construction, they also do pipeline facility work for us. Richard Daily Engineering, they do our survey work. Cementing, we have Next Level Energy, that's our own service provider. Next year, that's a pretty good list right there.
Okay, great. And you have a long-standing relationship with these service providers, so you've worked with them for a number of years.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. And so when we look at the well cost sheet for this application in E37, are you pretty confident in the numbers that we've produced?
Yes, ma'am. It's an estimate, but based off of the experience that our team has, the number of wells that we've drilled in Appalachia, the experience of our team, conversations with the service providers, confident that we can drill the wells safely and efficiently.
Perfect. And did you have any follow-up questions for? All right. Okay, those are all the questions I have. Like I said, I'm going to bring up Mr. Hess to go through the application. But if Mr. Schwartz has any questions for Mr. Teacher.
Yes, Mr. Schwartz, your cross-examination.
Yes. Mr. Teacher, could you go to let me find the PDF page here, to your application here. And at paragraph 12, which is PDF page 3, you've provided a paragraph entitled "An Estimate of the Allowable Costs." Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
What is, did you participate in generating the numbers that are in that paragraph?
I participated in the conversations related to the well cost estimate, working with our team, our vendors, to the 700 cost per well, 715,677 is a number that we came up with as an estimate.
Okay, why is the paragraph 12 in your application?
There are other wells, gob wells that have been drilled in this panel. That is the cost that we have represented as the average well cost to drill gob wells in this panel, although there are no gob wells proposed in F-36.
Okay, but why are you telling respondents? Why are you telling the people that you've mailed this to who could come to this hearing if they wanted to? Why are you giving them this information?
Again, it's just consistent with the well cost estimates that were provided for these panels.
Well, aren't you telling them that if they want to be your partner, this is how they would, this is the allowable cost that they would have to pay their fair share of?
If there were gob wells drilled, yes, sir.
Okay,
There are no gob wells proposed.
okay. Do you propose any wells in, strike that. Are you familiar with, let's just go to Exhibit M and talk about that.
Just,
Um,
we have someone else who's gonna be testifying on Exhibit M. Mr. Tiedrick is here to talk about the well costs and the company itself, but we will be presenting evidence on Exhibit M later on.
Okay, I'd still like to talk to Mr. Tetrick about Exhibit M. If you could go to PDF page 31 in your Exhibit M. You see that?
No, I do not. You'll have to give me a moment to get there, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Mr. Schwartz, would it be appropriate to go ahead and let them present their testimony on Exhibit M before we start asking questions? We can bring Mr. Titrick back if he's the person you want to talk to, or since we haven't heard anything about Exhibit M at this point.
Okay, that works for me. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover with him. Did I understand you to say that your company has never drilled a gob well in Virginia?
We have not drilled a gob well in Virginia. We have individuals that have been affiliated with Diversified Energy has not drilled a gob well in Virginia. We have extensive experience within our company of individuals that have been associated with that activity.
And your company became active in Virginia in, let's say, February of 2025?
That's not accurate.
Okay. The acquisition of Summit Wells, were those permits transferred in February of 2025?
Yes, sir. I think you're focused on Summit. We've had longstanding presence in Virginia outside of Summit.
Okay. And that in that long-standing experience in Virginia, you've never, forgetting Summit, just in total, you've never drilled a gob well, correct?
Diversified Energy as a company has never drilled a gob well. We have, again, extensive experience with the personnel we have on our team.
Okay.
That have been associated with gob wells.
Okay. Have you drilled any frac wells in Virginia?
Diversified Energy has not. I can say myself, I have drilled thousands of frac wells.
Okay, so if and when you get a permit and drill a well in Virginia for coal bed methane, it will be Diversified's first effort in that regard.
It would be the first effort for Diversified Energy.
Okay. I think that's all I have unless I want to get him back on Exhibit M, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Oh, we actually have a retract. Oh, you had a question.
Yeah, this, you were talking about, this your infrastructure or how, what Diversified got. Can you tell me what this infrastructure that Diversified has in place? When you actually do drill wells and, produce it, distribute it, market it out, and what's that process for Diversified? What's that?
Yeah, well, we do have significant pipeline infrastructure already. We've got plans on how we would gather and address the gas, whether it would be to market or flare. We do have another witness that can testify to our plans as well with the marketing.
How about, the calculation and, distribution of your royalties and all that? Do you have that in place?
We have another individual that will testify to that information.
So you'll be handling or talking about the, payments and all that?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Mr. Trific, the short hole gas that would be produced under this longwall panel, you have specific plans on how you would gather that gas and what you would propose to do with that gas when you produce it?
So vent shaft 15, we have had conversations with Virginia Energy about the use of vent shaft 15. You know, the understanding we have, there are additional tubulars available to produce gas from those short holes, and we would gather that gas at surface and take it into a separate facility for processing for flaring.
So you're not planning to, are you going to flare the gas or you're going to commingle that gas with?
That is one of
production?
our options. We could also work with, potentially work to deliver that gas to market as well.
So if you're flaring the gas, there would be no royalty payments associated with the gas that would be flared if you would not plan on.
I'm not 100% sure what our intention is from a royalty perspective there. We have another witness to testify to that.
Okay, thank you. You can call your next witness.
Actually, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
let's address-
Mr. Chairman, a couple of things that the board members asked have caused me to have another question or two for this gentleman, if I could. Mr. Tetrick, is it your intention at the present time to flare gas from this panel, from panels 19, I'm sorry, panels 18 and 19 and 20?
That'll be pending future agreements that we may be able to reach with different parties.
Well, what's your plan? I mean, are you telling the board you're going to produce the gas and sell it into a pipeline, or that your plan at the moment is to flare it?
Right now, the plan is to flare it.
Okay. And is that driven by the fact that you don't have the infrastructure that would allow you to transport it to interstate pipelines for sale?
We would also have an intention to work towards that effort, Mr. Swartz.
Okay, but at the present time, if you were producing gas from panels 18, 19, or 20, you would be forced to flare because you don't have infrastructure in place to allow you to sell.
Correct.
Was that a correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Couple of follow-ups, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the drilling of gob wells, how many wells did you say you personally have been involved in drilling over the course of your career?
Thousands.
Are you familiar with the process or the procedure whereby you drill a gob well?
Absolutely.
Now, in the industry that we're in here, is it customary for a Diversify or a CNX or a Pocahontas Gas to actually go out on the property and drill that gob hole itself, or is that something that gets contracted out?
It's contracted out.
Okay, and what contractor would y'all probably use if you are designated the operator of a unit and then need to drill a gob hole?
Either Noah Horn or Gasco.
Okay. And are you aware that Noah Horn is the same company that Pocahontas Gas uses?
I am.
So y'all probably would be using the contract.
That's correct.
And is the decision about where to locate a gob well driven mostly by the coal operator, in this case Coronado?
Absolutely.
So you're saying you've never drilled one under the Oakwood 2 rules? You've never drilled anything?
Diversified Energy has never drilled.
It's never drilled.
Never permitted and drilled a well.
So what, if a company like Noah Horn does actual well drilling mechanically on the surface of the property, what is left for a Diversified to do, Pocahontas Gas to do in connection with the drilling of a gob well?
Well, obviously, you know, we handle the permitting
process.
which is what we're here today on,
That's correct.
right?
But you contract out the services and, various vendors for the materials, the casing, cementing services that are necessary. You have a design, casing design, hole sizes, casing sizes, cement jobs that you have to construct the well properly, whether it's a directional well with a kick, if you need directional services, that's all contracted out, but you provide a plan and then you use those contractors and vendors to execute that.
And we have a different witness on this topic, but you were asked questions about the flaring of gas. Are you aware what the market price is for propane methane gas right now, the spot price?
Right now, NYMEX pricing is just up $3.
Could I ask you something? If you flare the gas, then nobody gets paid for it, right?
I'll ask him that question. We have another witness that will testify at length about that.
Okay.
That's Mr. Hess, and he's up next, but, bear with me just a second. So for a company like CNX who testified last time we were at this hearing, that they will not be generating any environmental attribute or environmental credit revenue on their gas. They are only going to generate a royalty based on the sale of gas on the spot market. They would be, if that's true, they would be generating revenue based on roughly a $3 per MCF unit.
Yes.
Okay. And when your company flares this gas, is it your company's intention to generate revenue on one or more environmental credit markets?
That is correct.
And you may not know this because, again, this is another witness, but do you know whether or not the amount of revenue you're going to generate on the environmental credit revenue is going to exceed the amount of revenue that CNX would be producing if they simply proceed on the commercial market?
Based off of AEC value versus NYMEX gas prices, yes, it would.
So based on the information you have, then Diversified would be generating more revenue based on a galv well than CNX.
Under that comparison, yeah.
And so then, and we'll get to another witness on this. If royalties are paid to pooled interest holders by Diversified based on a greater quantity of revenue under the environmental attributes plan, other interest holders are going to get a greater revenue of royalties. Diversified is the operator than if CNX were the operator.
Based on that math, they would, yes.
So.
Just one more question. You're familiar with the application. So at this time, your application does not include any discussion on flaring gas and revenues associated with that and how it would be paid.
I don't think so, no, sir.
So what's your intent? How are we to approve that application with this? Not, I think it's going to have to be revised to make that change or
I'm here.
short haul gas.
If we have a witness to testify.
Okay, we can revisit it, but I'm just saying that the application would need to be revised if you were to prevail on this application to address this one way or the other.
We do address environmental credits in the application. Mr. Hess is going to
Okay.
discuss that. So I will
Okay.
point it out as we're going.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my point is, and then I think you're sort of making it for me. Everything we've seen in the papers that are filed with the board on this unit talk about selling the gas and paying a royalty on the gas. Now, if the story is changing, I needed to know that before this moment. The people that were noticed of the hearing needed to get notice of that. So if the whole perspective is changing here, are we looking at yet another continuance because they haven't put that in their paperwork? They need to make a decision here.
We have put it in our paperwork, and I will point that out to the board and to Mr. Schwartz, who has had notice of it.
Okay, we'll see where this leads, Mr. Schwartz, see if we have all this covered as we move forward. Any other questions for Mr. Diedrich? Let me call your next witness.
We're going to call Mr. Hess. Morning, Mr. Hess. Good. Would you state your name for the record?
Jonathan Hess.
Okay. Sorry, let me get my bearings here. I missed my. Who are you employed with?
Diversified Energy,
And how long have you been with Diversified?
nearly 3 years.
Okay, and what is your job title there?
Vice President Energy Marketing.
And what do you do as a President of Energy Marketing?
I am responsible for maximizing the value of Diversified Energy's assets throughout North America, and particularly involved in the carbon economy and environment attribute exchange to maximize the value of its commodities.
Right. And are you familiar with the application that we have prepared for today?
Yes, ma'am.
You've actually helped with the preparation of the application, so you're very familiar with what's in the application and the exhibits that are provided.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to walk through the application, the board, and point a few things out that have already been questioned. But as we go through, I'm going to point out a page number. That will be the blue page number at the bottom of your application. You have it in front of you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So looking at the application for F-36, the applicant is Diversified Production, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in paragraph 2, you see that there, we talk about relief sought. And it says here that this will serve as notification that a relief requested here will support Diversified's plan to generate revenue from the sale of coal and methane gas and or for the sale of monetization of environmental credits, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what is involved when we flare is environmental credits.
Flaring allows you to participate in the environmental attribute, in multiple environmental attributes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we did amend our application to inform the board that we are planning on producing environmental credits.
Excuse me, what, could you show us, tell me that again, where you're showing that?
Relief sought at the very bottom of relief sought.
Under what page number?
Sorry, page 1.
Yeah, I may not have, the one I downloaded yesterday may not have that.
Nothing changed on that.
Page 5, paragraph 2.
The amended application.
Oh, this on the,
Okay, I was like, I downloaded this last night.
there must be a place that's different in paragraph 2. Down on the actual. On the application. Yours is different. That's what I.
Paragraph.
Yeah. Back this. Go ahead and continue. I'll catch up with you here.
Sorry, do you say go ahead?
Go ahead and continue.
Okay, I'm sorry. I want to make sure you had it. Okay, before I get too far ahead of myself though, Diversified is authorized to do business in the Commonwealth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and it's registered with the Virginia Department of Energy and the Division of Gas and Oil,
Yes, ma'am.
and it has the required blanket bond on file.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's go back. Sorry. I wanted to make sure that we established that. So the current application for the board is for the pooling of production of coal and methane gas, which includes Godwell, short coal gas, and other gases within the panel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So per the regulations, Diversified provided notice to the respondents and interest parties by certified mail and return receipt requested.
Yes, ma'am.
And it included this amended application.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we provided those proofs of mailing to the board, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we also published in the Bluefield Daily Telegraph.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we provided the affidavit of publication to the board.
Yes, ma'am.
So looking back to the application, we have here the relief sought. If we go down here, to paragraph 5, that's where we identified what type of wells we're planning on producing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then if we go down here to paragraph 9, it says the percentage of our total interest. How much is that?
59.0788%.
And you heard Pocahontas testify last year and that they have 1/4 of 1% of an interest.
That's
So
correct.
we have a majority interest and a larger interest than Pocahontas in this particular application.
By far, yes.
Okay. So the percentage that we're seeking to pool is 40.9212%.
Yes.
And this is in an 80 acre, would you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move away from the application itself, and we're gonna move on to the plat that we've provided, which is on page 8 and 9. This plat here lists out the interest owners, the surface owners, and the mineral owners in these two plats, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there is a well on this plat. Which well is that?
Rogers 419.
And is that currently operational?
It was plugged prior to us, through diversified interviews acquiring Summit.
Okay, so it was plugged by Summit.
Correct.
Okay. And this plat was certified by Richard Bailey, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Richard Bailey, he is a certified engineer and land survey.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so are you confident in his calculations?
Absolutely.
Okay. Below the plats, on the next page is a tract identification. And that is going to be on page 11. And this lists out all the owners within the tract, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It looks like we have 4 different mineral owners.
Yes.
And these percentages, and we're also certified by Mr. Bailey.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you're confident in those numbers as well.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so these acreages these numbers did change from our last application, and I kind of want to explain that to the board. I told them that I would explain it to them, so I want us to walk through why we made these changes. So you're aware that Pocahontas filed a well permit application for F37A, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that application, Pocahontas provided a plat of where they proposed the well to be, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you looked at that plat, did it look like that well was going to be on Buchanan Energy property?
It was still verified that it was on the.
Okay. So in order to make sure that we had the most accurate information, what did you guys do in that regard, noticing that there was probably some differences there that we didn't identify earlier?
We partnered with a leaseholder, Buchanan Energy, and had the property line surveyed in that area.
And who did you approach to survey the property?
Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Bailey, and he provided you a certified survey?
Yes.
So he went out to the property itself and located different boundaries to make sure that we knew that the survey lines, the mineral boundary lines were correct.
Met with the landowners, deed calls, built there. This is a certified survey.
Okay, so you said he met with the landowners and part of your team actually went out there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so then he provided you a certified survey and that shifted the mineral boundaries just a little bit than it had in our prior.
Yes, it did.
Okay, and with that certified survey, are you pretty confident that we know where the boundary lines are now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and another thing that you did at that time is you wanted to verify that you were using the most accurate grid, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you hired Mr. Bailey to help you identify the grid lines as well?
Yes, we started from native state foundationally out from the field order and build our own certified grid to be sure that it's the most accurate representation.
Okay, so when you said the native state, you mean you went back to the original orders that established these boundary lines, Mr. Bailey did?
Yes.
And then you created a grid based on those orders?
Yes.
To make sure that you had the most accurate grid possible?
Yes.
And you're aware that some of the other companies, well, you originally started with Summits, correct, when you acquired? And then Equitable, Coronado, some of the other operators in this area have different grids, correct?
There was some variance in the squares, so that's why we went back to the order and started fresh.
Okay, so that's what prompted us to start with the orders and to make sure we had the most accurate information.
Yes,
And so that shifted the acreage just a little bit as well.
just,
Okay, so that's why our numbers have changed just a little bit from our prior application.
yes.
Okay, I just wanted to outline that for the board so they understood what we did. So let's go back to the application real quick. Sorry. Just quickly, have you looked at the applications for Pocahontas in relation to, our application?
Yeah, you,
Okay, are you aware if they utilize the survey in preparing their application numbers?
it's not documented, it's certified on the land or the grid.
Okay, so we're pretty confident in our numbers because of our certified survey.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's go to the numbers. This is Exhibit B and B3. That's on page 13 for the board. So here are the numbers set out here. If we look at Exhibit B, we've broken this out a little bit, correct? The first thing that we see is the tract and the owner, and then on the top there you see the acreage in the unit,
Yes, ma'am.
and then the percent of interest in the unit. That means the percent of the based on their acreage.
Yep, of the unit, yes.
Okay, and then we have 18 and 19 here. So these numbers to the right, or their percent in the actual panel themselves.
Yes, F-36 is involved in 2 panels, so you see 18 and 19.
Okay. And then if you go down to the bottom of page 17, you see that we have listed, and there's a lot of owners here. It takes a minute to get there. You'll see that we have put out here how much of the unit we own. The percentage in the unit is 59.0788%. That's what diversified own. Lease is correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and acreage is 47.263, and that's of that 80-acre unit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then if you go down to B3, this is actually a list of all the unleased owners.
Yes, ma'am.
Get to the page number. That's page 24. So these are all the people we have not yet reached an agreement with.
Correct.
And their acreage is listed on page 28. So the unleased percentage is 40.9212%.
Yes, ma'am.
And the unleased acreage is 32.7%.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's all here in Exhibit B. Okay, we're gonna go next to the well costs. I know we're flying through this quickly. But here, this well cost sheet, this breaks down for the board, how we reached the number for well costs, correct?
Correct.
That's Exhibit C.
Correct.
You've heard Mr. Tiedrick explain earlier how we get to those well costs. Do you agree with his assessment?
Yes, he's very experienced in drilling wells. Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything to add as to how we got to these well costs?
No.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how they intersect with Exhibit M. So we take the well costs, if you turn to page 31, we take the well costs and we calculate that according to how many wells are planning to be drilled, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we break that out across the units. How many units will be affected?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
many units will be affected in F-36? Do you see that there?
F-36 for 18 panel. Well,
12. Okay. So the costs are shared amongst each unit
Yes.
according to the percentage.
proportionally, yes.
So one thing that I just want to remind the board, and I know we talked about this last hearing, so just as a reminder, our acreage did change a little bit from our original application, and that had to do with the mine development, excluding the mine development, correct?
Yes, we reviewed our Oakwood 2 orders, and in that order, it says isolated by the driving up of development. So we went inside that development. We included that previously because we wanted to pay everyone, so we went inside where the code said isolated by.
And we had talked about that a little bit at the last hearing. I just wanted to remind the board as to why that had changed a little bit as well. Okay, so at the top of our exhibit, we have the acreage panel and then how many wells are going to be within that panel. And that's how we calculate the total panel capital, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much is that?
Total panel capital is 11 million for 18.
Yes, I'm sorry, we're on 18. I apologize, yes.
For 18 is 11,865,160.
Okay, and what about 19?
19 is 10,358,481.
Okay, now if we look at just F-36, how much is the total capital for just F-36 in panel 18?
Oh, 418, sorry. Okay, 418 F-36 is 293,254.01.
Okay, and I've provided you with, hold on just a minute, let me make sure I have it. Did I provide you with it? The worksheet?
Yeah.
Okay, so to Mr. Gibson's question, when we're talking about how an owner will go about calculating from these exhibits, I want to talk about that real quickly. So if we look at, I've created a little exhibit worksheet. If you guys want a copy, I have extras, but we'll just run it through it real quick. Okay, so if we look here on B3 and we see that City of Coxcombin Estate Trust, she has track 2.
What page are you on?
On B3, I am on page 24. And her acreage in the unit and her percentage in the unit is listed at the top there, and that's 26.509 acreage in the unit.
Yes.
And then the percentage of interest in the unit is 33.1363%.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. So, and then we go over to the panels. The panels itself, they only have 2.5% each within the unit, correct?
Correct.
So then her percentage would be times by that 2.5%.
Correct. Her
And that-
percentage in the unit times by that, yes.
And that's how we got the 0.8190% in panel 18 and the 0.8161% in panel 19.
Yes, that's the two.
Right. So you had just testified that panel 18 has $293,254.01. That's the total tax.
Yes, ma'am.
So the way she would get to how much it would cost if she decided to participate, right?
Mhm.
Is timesing that by this number at the top of E3, 0.1890%. And that would make her cost $2,402.04.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's how the trust would go about calculating that.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Right. Make sure we covered everything here on exhibit 9. And panel 19, what was the total capital for F-36?
Panel 19.
What's your page? Yes.
We page 30. F-36 on panel 19 is 255,118.03.
It just so that the board understands kind of what you did with the exhibit here. You have also broken this out. So your percentage within this panel is how much diversified?
Diversified's percentage within 19 panel of that unit.
Mhm.
Diversified's percentage within that unit is 59.1, like we said earlier. And their realized percentage of the panel per that unit is 1.5.
Okay, and so you would times that by the total estimated capital, and you would get your estimated capital
Correct.
here. And then the other estimated capital is what? Everyone outside of diversity. Okay. All right. All right, let's move right along to Exhibit L, which is on page 30. And this is a plat that depicts where the long wall panel is going to be located.
Yes.
You see that there?
Yes.
Okay, and this location, was that provided to you by Coronado? Is that
Yes.
where that information comes from?
Yes.
And this plat was also certified by Mr. Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, our application does not include an Exhibit E, and that's because we do not anticipate escrow in this unit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we have given a proposed order to the board, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And if we go to paragraph 9.2, if you can turn there, then you can see the page.
Order.
Yep. 9.2. It talks about compensation, correct?
I'm going to page 37. Yes.
Yes. And you see there where we listed out how much the compensation would be.
$10 per net mineral acre.
And then after that,
1/8 royalty.
and if you go a little bit further in the middle of the paragraph there, you'll see the discussion of environmental credits. Do you see that there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you go ahead and read that out loud?
Kind of middle of the page. I'll start at the but not limited to gathering, compression, treating, transportation, marketing costs, and any costs associated with the generation and sale of environmental credit revenue, including costs associated with flaring.
Okay, and that's an additional royalty calculated at 1/8.
It's on 37,
37.
kind of middle of the page.
And that royalty also is calculated at 1/8.
Yeah, we'd like to stack and create the most value for the stakeholders, commodity sale and environmental revenues.
Those are all the questions I have, but Ben's going to continue direct examination.
Okay, Mr. Hess, in terms of generating revenue, and paying royalties on this unit.
Yes,
we're talking about FP 36, right? Everyone here acknowledges that, at least right now, there's not a plan to put a gob well in F 36. Is that true? Correct.
Correct. It's pulled by the path.
And is that mostly because that section of the mine is underlain by a lot of mine works, and it's just not really a good option for a gob well?
Correct.
So, and Pocahontas Gas agrees with that, right?
Coronado decides that both ways, yes.
So really what we're talking about in terms of revenue production is going to be with respect to short hole gas. Is that right? On this unit?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And have you or others from your company been in contact with Coronado and received information about where their gob wells are projected and the gob wells they already have in place?
Yes, we got co-located operations, so we consistently communicate with Coronado. Yes.
And have you taken the information that Coronado provided to you about short holes and put that on a plat along with the other information we've already shown the board, which is the mine works, units, and the property ownership of Buchanan Energy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so that is set forth in an exhibit, and I'm going to pass that exhibit around to the board members if Charity might have. And we have labeled this DP 14, so exhibit 14 for diversified production. So once the board members have the exhibit, I'll ask you a few questions about that.
Mr. Chairman, the time to submit something like this was when they filed their amended application. I've never seen this. You guys have never seen this. If it's a substantive exhibit, it's too late.
We've heard that before, and the board has ruled there's no requirement to submit exhibits in advance. I have a copy here for you, sir. And the board has already asked about guide well production. I think they want to know about it. I'm sorry, short hole production. They want to know about it, and this is going to help them understand that. There's nothing, nothing in here we haven't already discussed really. So it's just going to help the board, and it's relevant.
We're going to have a discussion between the board members on using this exhibit. We have a motion to allow the introduction of this exhibit for purposes of clarifying testimony.
Well, I've got one further objection. It would
Let's
be
do them one
helpful.
at a time. Let's do them one at a time.
Well, it
So
would be
we have a
helpful
motion-
if
we
I
have a
could
motion here.
see, I would like to see the exhibit. I've never seen it.
Sarah.
Do you want to email it to me?
Take this exhibit and put it on the screen. Do we have a digital version of it?
I don't know that we have a digital version here. I don't. 'Cause
I do.
I don't. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, good.
Want me to
So we
send it
do,
to
yeah.
Send it to Ms. Gilmer, and I think you might be able to display it.
Well, if it's untimely, should we even consider it?
Ms. Cooper, would you like to weigh in here, please?
Yes, if I recall, the board has allowed exhibits that were not provided in the advance previously. What the board could do is, again, I haven't seen it as well because I'm virtual, but depending on the content of it, the board could opt to use it as what's called a demonstrative exhibit, which means you could use it to understand a concept better or understand testimony better, but it would not come into the record. It would not go back, into your consideration. It wouldn't be in the stack of papers that you for your consideration. You'd essentially give it back at the end of the hearing. You'd use it to understand things and then give it back. So that's another option the board could do as well.
Mr. Chairman, there's no, we've talked about this before, and I forgot which time. We've been here several, but there's no rule. The rule is the board needs to hear and admit relevant evidence. That's the rule. And that's the purpose of a formal hearing. There is a way for the board to issue an order before these things where they set up mechanisms for the exchange of exhibits. I mean, you can do that, mechanism for that. But if you don't do that, there's no rule on that. So what Mr. is suggesting simply isn't the case. There's no rule that says we can't come before you and introduce evidence unless we filed it with the application. There's no such rule as that. So it's just that the objection is just unfounded.
Want me to put it up on the screen?
If you can, please.
This is the wrong. Did you say?
The Rogers well is in there, ma'am. It's the green dot just above it.
So you can see that, Mr. Schwartz?
I do not see it.
It was there for a moment. And now it's
It
gone.
was, yeah, it went away.
There we go.
Is it now?
That's it now.
So they can see it in.
There we go. Okay, I got it.
Okay, so back to your objection, Mr. Schwartz. Do you want to rephrase your objection and withdraw it? Do we need to rule on your objection at this point?
I guess my objection was that if you wanted to include short hole gas and calculations with regard to it in your application, you needed to submit your exhibit in that respect with your application. This isn't a demonstrative exhibit. This is what we're going to do exhibit, and it should have been in their application. That's my objection. I agree with what Jessica has said, and we've done it before. If it's just purely a demonstrative exhibit, you don't have to cough it up in advance. What I'm saying is this is the kind of exhibit that should have been included in the package that was mailed to the respondents. That's my objection.
Discussion from the board on this objection, whether to hold or deny the objection. I think personally that this exhibit is just here to help us clarify what their plan is. They have addressed the short hole gas in their revised application. And then we've not had a lot of discussion on the short hole gas in the past in front of this board, and I think this just helps serve clarification to the process. The other board members have any other comments on this type of information being utilized? I'd make the motion that we deny the objection and continue on. Do I have a second to that?
Also,
We have a motion and a second. Just voice vote. All those that are in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
So we're going to continue on, Mr. Schwartz. We're going to continue on with you.
Okay, so briefly, let's give a quick summary of what short hole gas is. So let me ask you this. We call it short hole gas, but it's short hole gas just the gas itself is methane gas, right?
Coal mine methane, yes.
So it's a molecule of CH4.
Yes.
Chemistry memory is correct.
Yeah.
But what makes it short hole gas is the method by which it's allowed to escape the coal seam. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, of course, all of this mine is dealing for the most part with what's called longwall panel mining.
Yes, sir.
And that's where a rectangular length of coal basically is clawed out of the ceiling and drops to the bottom. And then the coal is harvested, right?
Yes, complete extraction, yes.
So, and when that happens, there's a lot of gas liberated from that longwall panel that collapses out of the ceiling.
And above the mine area, yes.
And the gas itself historically has created a hazard for coal miners.
Yes.
For that reason, has it been customary for decades to drill holes into the side of a longwall panel to expedite the release of that gas from the panel?
Yes. From inside the mine, yes.
Okay. And so when a short hole is drilled, this horizontal hole is drilled, is it drilled from the edges of the longwall panel of coal, basically?
Yes,
Okay.
down to development. Yes.
So when those holes are drilled, are they cased with a pipe or cement, or are they just drilled like I would drill through a piece of wood with a drill?
Just open a hole and then piped with a wellhead device, yeah.
So there's a pipe connected to the hole, basically.
Yes, sir.
And so who does this who performs this drilling? Is it?
Coronado performs all the work underground.
Okay. And in terms of your relationship with Coronado, this is something they do in large part to degasify the mine for safety.
Serves two purposes, degasify the mine for safety as well as dust control during mining.
Dust control?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let's look at Exhibit 14. And so most of this exhibit we've already introduced in the form of Exhibit 2, and it's the property ownership of Buchanan Energy in pink or red, and it has yellow unit boundaries. And then it has the mine works of Buchanan Mine, right?
Yes, sir.
What's new on this Exhibit 14 is the location of the short holes that have been drilled, right?
Yes, sir.
And so do you know who actually performs the drilling of the short holes?
Coronado, the miners.
Their own employees do that?
Yes.
They do not contract that out to Noah Horn or something like that, or?
It's minors.
Okay.
It's contracted.
So when you look at Exhibit 14, each one of those little black lines that has a date on it, for those,
Correct.
is each one of those lines an individual horizontal short hole?
Yeah, date it was completed by Coronado.
And so the date along each line shows when Coronado completed that short hole.
Correct.
Once that, so we're talking about 36F right now,
Yes, sir.
right? So there is one short hole in the far western edge of panel 18. And it looks like it was completed on September 21st of 2025.
Yes, sir.
So based on your understanding about how all this works, where did the short hole gas from that short hole drill, where did it go after it was released out of the short hole?
Coronado collects it and brings it out vent shaft 15.
Okay, so
It's to the black dot you see on the bottom left. The vent shaft 15.
okay, let's just focus on 18 for a second. There's a number of short holes there, right?
Yes, sir.
Each one of those empties into the same pipe.
Yes, sir.
It's underground
Yes, sir.
and it runs over to what you're calling the mains.
Yes, sir.
And that is, I guess, I don't even know how to describe that, but that's just north-south of mine works right here.
Yes, sir.
And then once it gets over to the mains, you said it then goes in a southerly direction in a single pipe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in that pipe is short hole gas from panel 17 introduced into the same pipe.
It would be, yes.
And then the same, we don't see 17 and 16 labeled, but same would be true as to 16.
All active short holes are coming in.
And then it goes to, you said vent shaft 15,
Yes, that black dot.
and vent shaft 15 is located in unit H36.
Yes, sir.
So that's to the south of this exhibit. It's not depicted on this.
Below G36, just
Okay.
alphabetically.
And vent shaft 15 is a vent shaft owned and operated by Coronado.
Yes, sir.
And then once it gets to the base of that vent, what's the size of that vent shaft? Is it like around?
Ventilation shaft is, I believe, 22 feet.
Okay, so it's a big hole,
Yes.
right? And then around that vent shaft is a concrete collar,
Concrete wall.
concrete wall. Does that stretch from the surface down to the
Yes.
base of the mine works?
Yes.
So within that concrete collar, is there roughly 8-inch pipe?
Several pipes that allow
Okay.
access to the bottom. Yes.
Is Coronado using one of those pipes to take the short hole gas to the surface?
Yes, sir.
Is there another gas that could also be used to take diversified's short hole gas to the surface?
From our conversation with Coronado, there is a spare pipe available. 8 inch.
So when they constructed vent shaft 15 and put this concrete wall in, they anticipated future needs and they put in extra pipes. Basically.
Yes.
And so up until this point, now we've tracked the gas from the units along I call them hallways, but what do you call them? They're
Mains.
no, not
No
the main,
development.
the development lines to the main, to the south to get to H36, to the vent shaft, then up the 8-inch pipe. Up until that point, for these short holes, has CNX or Pocahontas Gas had anything to do with the production of that short hole gas? They don't own the pipes.
Correct.
They don't drill the holes.
Correct.
They don't fit the pipes together.
Correct.
They don't repair the pipes. They don't maintain the pipes. They don't insure the pipes.
Correct.
They're not involved.
Correct.
And that's what Mr. Ball was talking about a couple months ago at the hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Once that gas gets to the surface at vent shaft 15, does it then go through a meter to measure it?
Once it gets to the surface, yes.
Is that the first time that that gas is ever metered under the program that Coronado runs?
Correct.
And then once it passes through that meter, is it your understanding that at least insofar as the gas right now, it is then taken into possession by Pocahontas Gas?
Yes.
So on unit 36F, Diversified wants to be the unit operator of 36F, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you then, assuming there's any gas left, right? Any short hole gas left in 36F, and maybe that's the next question, is there any? Let me back up. That short hole that we see depicted on Exhibit 14, which is the short hole that was completed on September 21st of 2025, that will cease production once the panel drops out of the ceiling, right?
Just prior to the mining of the area.
It won't be there anymore in effect, right?
Correct.
Because the coal's going to drop in and it's going to get mined.
Correct.
Has that happened yet?
No.
So it's still producing short hole gas right now.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if the board designates Diversified as the unit operator of 36F, what is it that your company plans to do with the short hole gas that is going to come out of unit 36F?
As per our order, we will sell and monetize it in the commodity and environmental attribute markets. Yes.
So you're going to basically, once Coronado takes it down to vent shaft 15 and it goes up, I think you're going to use a separate pipe to get it to the surface. You'll send it through one of your own meters.
Yes.
And then you're going to flare it, right?
Maximize the value for the stakeholders, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then when you flare it, let's talk about the next step, and that is environmental credit revenue.
Yeah.
That's I know you're not ruling out any other sources of revenue, but right now that's your primary, right?
It creates more value for the stakeholders.
Okay. So the area of environmental credit revenue was new to me, and I suspect that it's new to probably most people in this room. And so maybe we should let's explain that, okay? How do you describe, just in the broadest term, is environmental credits the right umbrella term to use to talk about what we're doing?
Carbon economies.
Okay. Are there different ways to generate revenue and to earn environmental credits based on the gas that's going to come from 36F?
Yes, several different markets.
So they're different markets, and I think the chairman may have asked, if not us, maybe another one of these meetings. I heard a little bit about it, but I heard something about the California carbon market.
It's one of the most known. It's called the CARB, California Regulatory Board. Yes.
Okay, so how, and that, is that the one that Pocahontas Gas and CNX use?
Not sure.
Okay. So is that the one that Diversified plans on using?
We are active in that market on some projects in Kentucky. Yes.
What about this gas right here, though, 36F? What market will you, I know that, if there's 7 markets, which one are you most certain?
We would like to use 3 different markets. The carbon market is for flaring, that's CCOs. That is the most lucrative and most long-term market.
So can we call that the CCO market?
You can. Part CARB, California market. That one is the most long-term. It's extended by Gavin Newsom to 2045, and it trades at $5 to $6 in MMBTU equivalent.
Okay. So most of us here are used to talking in terms of an MCF. I am an MCF versus an MMBTU.
Yes.
Roughly, what does $5 to $6 per MMBTU translate to for MCFs?
Methane, the heat rate to MCF for methane is 10. So it's roughly the same. Times it by 1.01. Yeah. So it's the same.
Okay. So roughly $5 to $6 per MCF
Yes.
is the going price right now on the CCO market.
Yes.
Okay, and you said you were looking at 3 different
Yes.
markets. What's the next one?
The other one is the PJM GATS market.
Slow down. Give me those again. P what?
PJM GATS.
Is there something simpler we could use to refer to that?
Renewable energy certificate.
Okay, that's REC.
Right.
Okay, I've heard that. So you can go on the rec market,
Yes.
and then what's the going rate on, convert it to MCF, so we're talking about oranges and oranges.
This is a stack armor opportunity with interstate pipes. It would trade for $2.50 to $3 stacked.
When you say stack, you mean you can get environmental credits on the CCO market and environmental credit revenue on the rec market?
Maybe on that, but you can definitely get the rec market and the commodity sale.
Okay, well, what do you plan to do on 6F? What's the most likely outcome?
Likely the CCO market right now.
Okay,
Based on
that's the
$6, yeah.
So you're gonna try to do the rec market, that's less certain.
Yeah.
But you're definitely gonna do the CCO market.
Maximize the value for the stakeholder.
And what's the third option?
One of the others, there are many more, but the other one that we look at is voluntary market. Go out and help people meet their carbon intensity goals.
And so let's assume right now that Coronado does it all, right? They do the drilling, they get the gas to the surface, and then you take it. And then you're gonna turn around and you would flare it, right?
Yes.
And
Destroy
then, once you do that, you would destroy it. The federal government has decided that it's a good thing, right? To flare and destroy carbon methane gas. And they reward people for that. So basically, they issue a credit of $5 to $6 per CF.
Sell them, yes, like a commodity.
And then you'll have that, you'll sell it. And then based on that, you're gonna get this money to come in. And then are you gonna pay a royalty based on that amount to the interest holders that you're pooling?
Yes, we'll pay royalty based on all revenue streams generated from the market.
And you heard the senior vice president a moment ago from your company say that the commercial market, just for the sale of gas, like we're all used to selling it on the Henry Hub, that right now that's about $3 per MCF.
Yes.
And so what you're going to do is going to generate close to twice that much revenue on the same amount of gas.
Yep.
Okay. And so the interest holders that are going to be pooled, they're going to make twice as much royalty based on what you guys are going to do versus what Pocahontas Gas is doing.
At a minimum, yeah.
And if you're successful with utilizing other markets, which you can do in addition to, not in lieu of CCO market, you'll even generate more revenue royalties for the pooled interest holders.
Yeah, yes.
And if you're designated as the operator of 36F, and the people that you sent notice to then will have an election, right? They have an election about whether they participate or be carried.
Yes.
What cost will there be to you for selling that short haul gas? Or not selling it, but generating revenues?
It'll be cheaper than interstate pipe and taking it to market that way.
You're not gonna charge them for the cost of gobwells or anything.
No, the deal with Coronado, as you can see on the cost estimate, if we get reimbursed, we will not charge the relevant rights holders.
Your executive vice president testified that your company has 70,000 operating wells in America.
We got a large, yes.
And did I ask you to look up to see how many operating wells Pocahontas Gas has?
Yes.
How many do they have?
I think over 5,000.
That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Schwartz, your cross-examination.
Yes, please. Let me get that back up on my screen here. Okay. You go back to your amended application, page 1. Paragraph, actually page 2. Do you have it?
Yes,
You're including in the type of wells at paragraph 5 that you're going to produce allocable frac well gas. Do you see that?
yes.
How do you propose to combine frac well gas and unsealed gob gas? What's your plan?
The frac well has been plugged, sir. 419's been plugged. If we drill another frac well, we can produce.
So are you telling me you're planning on drilling a frac well in this unit and then combining the production from that frac well with unsealed gob gas or short hole gas?
No,
Why is allocable frac well gas in this paragraph?
we had a previous frac well, sir, that's been plugged.
So it should be taken out?
Unless we drill a new one that we don't plan to drill right now. Yeah.
Well, if you drill a new one, is it your plan to combine the frac well gas with the unsealed gob gas?
If blending, if the unsealed gob gas is off spec, we can blend it up with the frac gas. Yes, sir.
Okay. And how are you going to pay royalty on the frac well gas as compared to the unsealed gob gas?
The unsealed gob gas will be paid by the panel under Oakwood 2 order, and then the frac well, if it's not in the panel, it would be paid under Oakwood 1 order.
Well, if the frac well's in the panel, you're going to pay it under 2?
Should be, yes, the same pool of gas.
Well, you're going to be producing, your frac well is going to be producing from seams above the Pocahontas 3, which is where the unsealed gob gas is coming from, correct?
Correct.
So you're going to combine frac well gas and gob well gas and pay it as if it was
There is in F-36.
payable to everybody in a panel as opposed to just payable to people in a 80-acre unit. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, there's areas in F-36 that could hold a frac well that's not in the panel, so.
But what I'm saying to you is, do you understand that frac well gas under Oakwood 1 gets allocated to the 80-acre unit in which it is located?
Yes.
I'm going to
Okay.
object to the question because it's vague. The Oakwood orders deal with frac wells differently, depending upon whether they're situated over a longwall panel that is going to be mined under, in which case they become gob wells for purposes of payout. If a frac well is not overlying the panel, then they're treated differently. So it's not a fair question to lump both of those locations for frac wells into the same question.
My question was, if you have a frac well, isn't it true that you must allocate production and royalties to the 80-acre unit in which the frac well is located? That's my question.
Yes,
To solve this right here, is it fair that if we take out the reference to the frac well, because we're not really dealing with a frac well today, is that solve your problem, Mr. Schwartz? That
Yes,
if
but-
they want to do a frac well later on, they'll have to come back before this board to get approval.
Right. Well, they need to understand that. So if you
Need to have
take it
a
out, I
condition
think
to
that
this
sends that,
application
that's,
to revise that.
that's, yes.
Okay, if we can move on from there, then that's fine.
okay, all right. Then if we go to, the percentage of interest, paragraph 9, page 2, percentage of total interest held by the applicant, 59.0880788. You see that?
Yes, sir.
That's not the applicant's interest in the panel as a result of this unit, is it?
This is an application for the unit, sir. That's just this unit.
I guess the Diversified's interest in panels 18 and 19 is infinitesimal, correct?
Objection to the form.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Objection to the form of the question.
Okay, what is the applicant Diversified's interest in panel 18? The revenue from 18? As disclosed by your exhibit B.
Did you hear it?
I couldn't hear him.
Hey, Mr. Schwartz, could you repeat that? We didn't hear it.
Okay. What is Diversified's actual interest in panel 18 in unit by reason of unit F36? What's the interest?
F36 and panel 18, sir,
Yes.
is 1.5%. That's on exhibit on page 31.
Well, on page 13, you've got it as 1.4602%.
Sorry, we rounded it. The table got cluttered. 1.46, 1.5.
Okay. Okay. So it's not 59%. It's 1.4602% in 18 and 1.4550% in panel 19, correct?
Objection to the form. You're mixing apples and oranges, Mr. Schwartz.
I'm asking him if that's correct.
Yeah, I know, but the question's not fair because that wasn't his testimony. The testimony was the percentage of the unit, and your question suggests that he testified that that percentage of the panel. Those are two different numbers.
Well, somebody on your behalf testified today that Diversified's interest in this unit was much greater than Pocahontas Gas's interest. And do you agree? Do you agree with that statement, sir?
I do.
In F36, yes.
Okay, well, let's go down to Pocahontas Gas leasehold interest, which I think is track 3, okay?
What page you want?
It would be track 3, same exhibit. Let me see here. Actually, it would be easier to just go to the tracked IDs. Why don't you go to page PDF page 11.
It's a PDF, page 11.
Okay, and that shows that CNX Gas has a lease on the coal bed methane in the tract identified as number 3, correct?
Tract identified as number 3, the Carolyn King.
Yes. It shows CNX Gas Company LLC, CBM leased, correct?
It shows Appalachian Energy Oil Gas CBM leased 40% and CNX Gas Company CBM leased.
Okay, and it shows that tract in terms of how many acres in the 80-acre unit is 7% and change, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then if we go back to your exhibit B.
Step out to the restaurant.
Tract 3 has actually more of an interest, it's small, but more of a percentage interest in panel 18 than you do.
In panel 18, track 3 and panel 18 is 0.1.
I'm sorry, you're right. Okay, and then it's the same percentage in 19, correct?
No, it's not the same. It's 0.1863, so it's slightly smaller.
Tiny bit of a difference. Okay. Then going back to your application, you have in your application an estimate of total production, paragraph 11.
Yes, sir.
Where did that number come from?
We actually had the opportunity to work with a third-party database for all wells in North America, and we pulled a data set from Job Wells with County Versus. So we pulled that data set in and generated the type curve to provide that number.
Okay. Do you know that CNX had been using that precise range of numbers for probably 20 years in its applications?
Well, same data set, sir, so likely would be.
Well, do you know whether or not CNX has been using that range, those exact numbers for years in its applications?
I do not.
Okay, so you're saying you didn't just copy it from a CNX application?
No, we subscribed to Versus and we pulled a data set from what Job Wells produced in the Congo.
Okay. And you don't actually attempt to correct or to calculate you don't have one of your reservoir engineers calculate the range. You look at a database to come up with it.
So a reservoir engineer accessed the database and then he brought it into Aries and established that number. Yes, we do have a reservoir engineer.
Okay. Paragraph 12, why is that in the application?
Oh, this shows the cost of the 2 panels for F36. And it shows the DEC portion and the other operators portion, and then the sum. This was requested by Mr. Jansen to break it out this early on. Yes.
Okay, and is this in there, paragraph 12? Is it in there to tell people who might want to participate in the unit? This is the allocable cost number you use to calculate your piece that you need to pay to participate.
It's a portion of it, but we testified, Ms. Charity led us through that. And that calculation, for example, for the Sylvia Cox. So we've talked about this, but we can go through it again if you'd like.
No, is this paragraph a message to the people that you're seeking to force pool? If you want to participate in this unit, use these numbers to calculate the amount of the check you're supposed to write.
It's the base, yes, for that unit, yes.
Okay. Now let's skip to back to Exhibit M, the 2 Exhibit M's that you've given us. The first one is at PDF page 31, okay? You got it?
Yes,
Okay. As I read the piece of it at the top, you're saying DEC wells, is that you're saying you're gonna have 5 wells in the panel?
yes,
Okay. And then when you're come down and you're allocating capital, well, I guess you're starting with a total capital that everybody will have in the panel of 11,865,169. Is that correct?
yes,
And then you're saying that diversified is going to have spent $3,578,385 to drill wells in panel, let me go back here, in panel 18 East.
yes, that's our projection prior to any reimbursement from Coronado.
Okay. And then, well, let's just stay with that for a moment. The board, how many units are affected by panel 18 East? There are 5 units, is that your understanding?
No, sir, look at Exhibit M, it's 12, I believe, we count them. 12, sir,
I'm sorry,
12,
no, units, not wells. How many 80-acre units are affected by 18
Well.
East?
12 units. F-36, F-37, F-38, F-39, F-40, F-41, G-36, G-37, G-38, G-39, G-40, and G-41.
Okay. Is it true that Pocahontas Gas is the operator of all of the G units?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Would it then be true that Diversified can't drill any wells, any gob wells, in units in the G row that are affected by 18 East?
That's correct, and you can see that cost and production listed as other, not diversified in the second to last column, sir. Yes.
Okay. And then with regard to the F row, the board pooled F-37 and appointed Pocahontas Gas as operator. Correct?
Diversified's the operator of the frac well in those units as well, sir.
My question was, didn't the board in October decide to pool F-37 for unsealed gob gas production under Oakwood 2 and appoint Pocahontas Gas the operator of F-37 for that production?
Yes.
Okay. And likewise, in October of 2025, didn't the board pool unit F-38 for unsealed gob gas production and appoint Pocahontas Gas the operator there?
Yes.
And then units F-39 and F-40 are Pocahontas voluntary units, correct?
Yes.
Which means they have 100% of the oil and gas interest in both of those units.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't it, and you have testified previously and again today that you're not planning on drilling a well in F-36.
Coronado's not planning on drilling well in F-36.
Well, you've testified you're not planning on drilling one.
Correct. We're providing a service for Coronado, sir. Yes.
Okay. So I guess where I'm coming from is you're telling people in this application you're going to drill 5 wells, but you're telling us today you're not going to drill any wells.
I didn't say that. F-37, F-38's on appeal, sir.
Oh, so you're just pretending that the board didn't enter an order that Pocahontas can operate under.
No, I did not pretend anything. I said that they did issue one. I said it was on appeal.
Well, as things stand right now, would you agree with me that you said you're not going to drill a well in F-36? The board has determined that the person who's going to be operating F-37 and F-38 is Pocahontas Gas, not Diversified, correct?
Correct.
So you have to win an appeal for your numbers on Exhibit 1 to work.
The numbers on Exhibit M, sir.
I'm sorry, on Exhibit M to work.
The cost for credit rights holders to go up if Pocahontas drills the wells, yes.
No. For your Exhibits M, with regard to 18 and 19, and we can come to 19 as well, although I think we'd have the same dialogue. You have to win an appeal for those numbers to be an indication of what's going to happen going forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anywhere in your amended application, did you tell people that you're seeking to pool in F-36 that if they want to participate in the panel, you have to win an appeal?
I don't.
Objection to the form. That's participating in the panel is not relevant. There's no such thing really as an election to participate in a panel. It's by unit.
Did you tell people in your amended application that their right to participate was contingent upon you winning an appeal?
Their right to participate in F-36 is not contingent on winning F-37, F-38. This is for F-36 units, sir.
So let's go back to this. Did you tell people who might want to participate in F-36 that their opportunity to participate was contingent upon you winning an appeal if you were designated operator?
Objection asked and answered. He just said that.
No.
That's not, the premise of your question is not factually correct.
Let me ask this then. Let's assume that one of the respondents you've named in F-36 sends you a check for their piece of the action. Okay? What are you going to do with that check?
They would get their proportional share of the revenues and the cost of the unit. If we are drilled the well and reimbursed by Coronado, they'll get their proportional share of that reimbursement.
Are you going to cash their check?
We'll create record, jib the well out. That way we've got documentation of it. Yes, we'll use that to develop the well.
So you would, if somebody in 36 sends you a check and says, here's my participation money, you would cash that check.
Yes.
Okay. And what would you do if you don't win your appeal with that money?
The cost is presented by panel, sir. F-36 has a cost because it's in the panel. So if we
Or
own
would
that.
you give that, if you lose your appeal, would you give the money back?
I don't think we're following the same line here. This is for F-36. The check would be for F-36, not for F-37 and F-38. So I'm confused as to what we're doing here. We objected to this premise.
if people followed your Exhibit M, page 31, and everybody participated, okay? You would get checks totaling roughly $120,000, correct?
$173,000, sir.
I'm sorry. Well, isn't that your capital?
That's diversified share of the capital, yes.
Okay, so you would expect. Well, what amount of money would people participating in this unit be paying in total if they all participated?
$293,254.01.
Okay, all right. So if everybody in F-36 participates, you would expect to receive $293,000 in change from them.
Correct.
And what are you going to do with that money if you lose your appeal?
If we have no cost in, the panel will reimburse it back to them, just like we would Coronado's.
Okay, and you're going to hold that, money for how long?
Until the panel's developed and we prove we have no cost.
Are you going to hold it longer than winning or losing your appeal?
No.
So if you lose the appeal, you're refunding the money.
We have no cost. We will not charge the relative rights holder.
Okay. And you have to win an appeal to have those costs. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And nowhere in any of the papers that you sent to any of the respondents did you give them any indication that their participation was contingent upon you winning an appeal?
No, sir.
And would the questions I've asked you with regard to panel 18 East also apply to panel 19 East, Exhibit M?
For unit F-36?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As we sit here today, is it your testimony that you do not have the infrastructure in place to produce and sell this gas?
No, sir. We got significant infrastructure in place. We just acquired Summit. Got significant infrastructure, compression, and expertise we can gather and produce this gas in multiple ways.
My question is, do you have the infrastructure in place to produce and sell this gas as we sit here today?
Yes, we can produce copies still. Yes. And the markets. Yes.
Okay. So you don't need to flare it.
We could produce, yes, we will maximize the value for the stakeholders. Yeah.
My question is, you are not in a situation where your only option is flaring. Is that your testimony?
Correct. That's not our only option.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I think that is all I have of this witness.
Redirect. Yeah, redirect. Your witness, you want to do it?
For you. So I guess Mr. Schwartz has got you, I guess he's trying to put you in a no-win position, because if we're fortunate enough to prevail on our appeal, and we don't include all of those costs in this application, then someone's gonna come back and say, hey, you didn't disclose all these extra costs to us that you ended up having with the appeal. So is the safer.
I'm going to object to this as a speech, not a question.
Okay, it probably is, but I owe you a couple. But I mean, do you have an opinion about which is the safer course in terms of putting the costs out there so that if you do win the appeals, the interest holders aren't, surprised with this huge bill? I mean, which way do you go, right? Is that in part why we've done the application the way we did?
Correct. And the major thing is if you do not incur costs, we will not take them pay for it. We're not a reimbursement.
And once, let's assume that we get to the end of the appeal and we lose the appeal. Is that the point in time when you will know that you can reimburse the costs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I want my question.
But let him finish his redirect first, and then we'll have questions from the board.
I don't have it.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Well, you always feel free to.
I thought you said you were finished.
I did.
You have something.
Okay, questions from the board then.
So I'm kind of jumping back because I tried to ask a question earlier.
I saw you raise your hand. I'm sorry. I would.
No. I knew you were going to proceed. Okay. That's okay. This is just, for me, I have a couple of questions. How do you pay royalties if there's a mix between selling on the market and carbon credits? And how do you reconcile that? Now, I do have part two in it, which might help you also. Flaring is different, right? So if you change to carbon credits in your application, how do you notify the owners of that change?
Okay. In the application, we state both markets. So even inside this unit, short hole gas and the dump gas could go to two different markets. It's measured at independent allocation, so being paid on individual market basis. That's fair. So if one gas goes to CCO, it'd be paid on MMBTU. One gas goes to commodity, it'd be paid on MMBTU. So we'll keep it fair based on the measurement allocation there. If a well was to change between the two markets, we would notify the owners and probably come back and notify the board as well to get permission.
With like certified mail, like you do the other notifications?
Yes, I don't know if it's ever been done before, but we do it the best way we could to keep everybody abreast of it. Yes. No, great question.
Was that,
For me.
was that both your parts of your questions?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions from the board? So back to this short oil gas one last time. As it stands today, if Diversified was to produce the short hole gas up through vent shaft 15, you do not have facilities at the surface there at this point in time to store that gas. And you have not provided any cost estimate for what those facilities would be as far as this application.
That's correct. We have no short hole gas to have facilities there.
Okay. So you have no pipeline to vent shaft 15 to move that gas. You'd have to have costs associated with that also.
That's Coronado has that underground.
No, I'm talking about from the surface to your infrastructure. You would have to run pipeline to that.
We would have.
So you did not include costs for that either, to gather that gas and do whatever you want to do with it. There'd be additional costs there. So would those costs be passed on to the royalty owners, or would those not be part of it? I know that, for example, Key Rock is passing, they're providing that cost for flaring, if that's what they're doing for their carbon credits. It's cost of their business. But you've not provided any cost for those.
We do not provide that.
So there's a cost that's missing there that a participating operator would need to know to make an informed decision.
If we take it to flare, yeah,
Okay.
if we're able to do that.
Okay. So they wouldn't have that information today.
Correct.
So the other part of that question is, to be a part of the California carbon market, for an example, or any of these other markets, there is a significant process that you need to go through to get certified, to be able to justify the project and its cost and all those things. What time frame have you worked under in the past to get those things in place? I'm assuming you do not have them in place today.
No, we've got active projects. We have a partner of ours in Kentucky, so we have knowledge of that market. I think we could get a project through in 36 months. We're pretty easy.
Okay. And there's a cost associated with that also.
It'd be most admin. We could.
There's a lot of data and a lot of information needs to be provided to those markets. It's a pretty extensive process, from my understanding.
Mine records, but we've done it before.
Okay. So that cost, that's another cost. Because what I'm getting back to is you represented that the cost was 2 to 3 times it on the market, just selling in the natural gas market. But there is some cost there that you did not represent as part of this. Okay. We've seen QROCs are pretty expensive.
Our Kentucky projects are pretty cheap, but they generate a lot of revenue.
Okay, just to clarify that there. So that's all the questions I have. Any other questions from the board? Do you have any other witness bring forth with your application? Okay, I think this time we'll take a break.
Mr. Chairman, just a warning. I'm going to call Josh Ball as a rebuttal witness on the carbon credit issue that came up, just so you know that will be coming after the break, if whether or not they have more witnesses.
Okay. So we're going to take a break. It's currently 12:15. We'll reconvene at, let's say 1 o'clock.
That's great.
That's great to be there.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We're back on record at the Virginia Gas and Oil Board hearing on April 21st, 2026. I remind everyone of cell phones and video.
Break out when she does that record.
Oh, yeah, that's your, yeah.
Sorry.
We left off on, we're still on docket item BGOB 25-1021-4322.
I did have one follow-up question for Mr. Hess from questions that you asked, and I think Mr. Street had still a witness to call.
Okay. Mr. Schwartz, are you back with us? So your rebuttal can come after their testimony, correct? You're muted. You're muted, Mr. Schwartz.
I'm sorry. Yes, let them finish and then I'll have a rebuttal with this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hess, I just wanted to ask a follow-up question to something that the chairman asked you about flaring and the cost of flaring. Now, the cost of flaring, is that something that we would put in the application as a upfront cost, or is that a little different?
This is a little different than the Key Rock application. Flare will service multiple wells and multiple panels, so it's not allocated to one well. So therefore, it's a midstream capital cost, and it'll come back on a midstream deduction. So it's a little different than the Key Rock applications, which service one well to one group of owners. This is a midstream function, like a capital compressor station or pipeline, that'll be allocated back on the deduct side.
And then we did mention in the proposed order in paragraph 9.2 about flaring, correct? As
Yes,
that
ma'am.
cost.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that was the only follow-up I had for him.
Okay. Before you do rebuttal, do you have any witnesses, Mr. Pruitt, that you want to present on this application? Not on this application. Thanks. Okay, but you have it.
Excuse me. I'll call Jason Davidson. He's been sworn.
Yes.
You got it.
You may begin.
State your name, please, for the record.
Jason Davis,
What is your capacity here today?
property manager for Candy.
as part of your job, do you receive and receive royalty? Have you received royalty reports from Pocahontas Gas CNX for November, December, January?
Yes, sir.
And have you reviewed those?
Yes.
Have you all received any royalties for Vent Shaft 15?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, do you have a and exhibit 16? And we move that be into evidence. That's all the questions we have.
Okay. Mr. Torch,
I'd like to see the exhibit.
Here's a copy.
Yeah.
I don't.
You have electronic copies in it?
It's fine. Yeah. Access to it.
It's in the system.
So I'm trying to get to it, but the computer's being slow. I don't have it easily accessible right this second.
Actually, I could put Josh on now and you can get the exhibit to me at, in the foreseeable future and we can move forward. It's not urgent that I have it right now.
Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Torch.
Okay, I'd like to call Josh Ball as a rebuttal witness.
Did we swear, Sarah?
Yes.
Josh, let's swear you in, please.
You swear your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Josh, would you state your name for us, please?
Joshua Ball,
Who do you work for?
CNX Resources, Pocahontas Gas.
What is your position at present time?
I'm Director of Drilling Completions and Downhole Services.
You've testified before this board in the past with regard to well cost estimates, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you've provided a well cost estimate for for the units that we're talking about today and the ones that we were talking about in February.
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been in your current position?
Couple 3 years or so. Yeah.
Okay. Before the current position, what were you doing for CNX?
I was Director of Operations, so I had a greater multitude of disciplines that reported up through me, not just drilling, completions, the things that I mentioned now, but I had construction, production, water, gas control, electrical at one time. I had quite a few disciplines.
Okay. in the course of your prior job, were you tasked with looking into flaring as a potential option?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And roughly what period of time would that have been?
That would have been around 2020, 2021, circa
Okay.
somewhere in that frame.
Okay. Uh, and what were you asked to look at and evaluate at that point?
Comprehensively, essentially a program to flare all gob gas from gob wells, new wells moving forward. It was not just looking into the feasibility, it was evaluating the equipment design needed, all the infrastructure associated with executing the job.
And in terms of how far along you got, could you tell the board what was done in terms of potential equipment?
Yes, we sourced a company. We worked on the design of that equipment and we manufactured a unique asset, maybe one in the world of its type to flare a sufficient amount of gas from gob wells with the destruction efficiency required by the EPA.
And was that actually built?
Yes, it was.
Roughly, do you recall what that cost?
Just over $1.2 million.
And where is that equipment now?
It's it's in our possession. It's staged on a yard right now.
Okay. Is it basically in storage?
It is.
Okay. In addition to looking at equipment, what other factors were you looking at to assess flaring as an option back in the years that we're talking about?
We looked at project feasibility, not only from an administrative and an operational perspective. We looked at it from a cost perspective, cost benefit perspective, pretty much everything from A to Z.
Did you also look at opportunities for marketing the marketing credits, for example?
Yes, we did.
What did you look at in that regard, or where did you look in that regard?
It was primarily an evaluation that revolved around the cost benefit analysis of marketing gas on a credit basis versus capture and sale on the cost benefit side of capture and sale versus credits.
Okay. And can you tell me whether or not you actually made that comparison after you had done your research and your construction issues were addressed?
Yes, we did. We did make that determination.
Okay. And what did you determine in terms of which choice made more sense for your company, flaring everything or producing and selling?
Producing and selling.
And what was it that caused you to pick that option?
Workability was a deciding factor. Value to the company, value to the shareholder. Just a holistic approach to cost of value analysis. And the difficulty, some of the difficulty of dealing with some of these carbon offset entities is very, very complex, very long and endearing from an effort perspective. It's not an easy task to satisfy.
As part of your due diligence in looking at the comparison of flaring to production and sales, did you look at timing with regard to California credits, for example, that market?
Specifically, yes, we did.
And what did you learn?
We all know California is a little different, right? We'll say that. But some of the interesting things about CARB, which is the California Air Research Board, is they have a protocol established for the monitoring and issuance of carbon credit offsets, RECs, all those sorts of things. Inside of that protocol states minimum statutes that you will meet, such as example, a monitoring plan. Their monitoring plan requires all new projects on the initial go-around basis have a minimum of a 1-year monitoring plan. In addition to the monitoring plan, you have a reporting and an auditing period that can be as much as 6 to 12 additional months. And then once you satisfy all those criteria, then you're able to market those credits if your project is accepted, which is a big if. So it's not a lickety split kind of thing. You know, it takes quite a bit of time, which honestly for us, time is money. And it was a bit of a deterrent, not alone the factor that we stand to generate more value from a capture and sale perspective.
Okay. Earlier this year, we'll strike that. So ultimately though, and I'm sure there were other factors, but given the factors that you've discussed with us today and the analysis that you performed today, what was your recommendation then with regard to flaring versus production and sales?
That we produce and sell and capture, not flare.
Okay. And was that recommendation something that was adopted by your company?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Earlier this year, earlier in 2025, did I ask you to look into a comparison of the royalty revenue that people could reasonably expect when comparing California credits to production and sale dollars?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I believe we have emailed a copy of that work to Sarah, offer as a demonstrative exhibit. Perhaps you could distribute that to the board members, and hopefully you've got an extra copy for Diversified's council as well.
We have those, Mr. Swartz. You may continue on.
Okay. Okay. Do you have your work handy in front of you, Josh, so we can go through it together?
Yeah, I've got the table summary.
Okay. Let's start with the why did you pick January of 2027 as a beginning point?
The analysis was set in a time based on the public announcement that Diversified made in their publications around when value would be generated from their project. So we just mirrored that time frame.
So you're talking about press releases.
Yes, correct. Mine was blank for a minute. I'm sorry.
Okay. And in addition to, and perhaps that forward look in their press releases was in part caused by the length of time it takes to get approved to receive credits or to be eligible for credits.
Objection to the leading.
Would regulatory, I'll rephrase it, would regulatory impediments have also factored into your decision to use 2027 instead of 2025, for example?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Would you walk us through, and then I'll have some further questions, but would you walk us through your analysis of carbon offset royalties and then your analysis with regard to royalty estimates as well? Walk us through this on an overall basis, and then I'll have some more questions.
Sure. So if you look at the top, it says estimated diversified carbon offset royalties for January 2027. The California Carbon Allowance Price 2025, that's the raw value of California's advertised plan for carbon credit offsets. Okay. What you have to understand about California is they have a cap and trade basis in their state. That basically means that they have to have a certain direct environmental benefit program versus a non-direct environmental benefit program. Well, what does that mean in the layman terms? They have to gain a certain amount of emissions that take place in the state itself to be able to generate, a maximum value. If those emissions are taking place out of the state, that's called non-direct environmental benefit to the state. So there's a price reduction that comes with that, and you can see the factors there that follow. It's quite a difference from the $30. Based on the project being a flaring project, there are project emissions. When you burn gas, one of the byproducts is CO2, which is a byproduct that you're trying to eliminate. So there's an additional 15% reduction with that. And you have to take into factor and consideration the passive mineral interest that Diversified would have in this situation. Then when you come down to the ball of wax and convert that from CO2e over to MMBTU, along with the global warming potential 28 that the EPA prescribes, you come down to about $1.89. So the 1/8 payment of royalty from diversified would come out to about 24 cents per MMBTU basis. Conversely, if you look at the capture and sale comparison, you can see that our NYMEX gas future was about 475. The Transco Zone 5 South differential that we use for the system we sell our gas on gets an tick differential of about 374, which brings the total value to 849. The deductible gathering is about 97 cents. The deductible transportation is about 38 cents, which leaves us with a net proceed of around $7.14, which equates to a 1/8 payment from CNX in March of 2027, not in December of 2028 compared to the flaring model of about 89 cents per MMBTU, or about 300% difference.
Okay. Let's go back up to your discussion of the carbon offset and royalties. The passive mineral interest, let's talk about that for a minute. What are you capturing there? What's being addressed there?
There are multiple things that could roll up into that. The passive mineral interest is, diversified. There's a marketability that takes place in all these. There's an administrative burden that takes place. You have to pay other folks to qualify and vet the project. So there are substantial costs that are not really what I call a front page cost. So there's going to be a substantial amount of fee that comes off of that as well, that's not really realized on the front end of things. So
would that include the using third parties to process and flare the gas as opposed to doing it yourselves?
Likely, yes.
Okay. Well, there are two ways to go about this. You can either design and build the equipment like you guys did, right? Or you can pay somebody to do that for you.
Correct.
For example, on the vent shaft air that you process, that is actually a third party that's doing all that work and providing that capital.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that instance, you've farmed it out. And in going forward with regard to flaring, did you look at farm out costs as opposed to internalizing the costs?
We did. For us, CNX specifically, the only way it made sense was for us to do it internally. And even at the comparison that I just covered, it still wasn't comparable to capture and sale.
And when you, okay, moving on then to you've got some notes off to the side with asterisks. If you talk, if you would, where did when you say trades as of 9/25, what trades are you referring to?
So it's just like a commodity. The value of that changes daily, hourly. It's a commodity just like everything else. So we just put the time frame in there that we pulled the data and looked at it. But the note there also says there's significant risk of price reduction by 2028 to $7 a ton due to different, basically flood of projects on that market. And I would also make a notification of this. From 2021 to 2025, CARB has one prescription for the percentage of DEBs that's able to come out of state. From 2026 to 2030, that number goes up by 50%, which is going to further reduce the value of non-in-state emission reductions. So our hypothesis there is likely going to hold true and maybe de-water the value additionally. So.
Okay. And then with regard to the value you used for the futures and so forth, walk us through that for the purchase or for the production and sale.
Yeah, again, just a commodity. If you see me looking off to the side, I've got two screens set up. I'm just looking at the screen that I've got the spreadsheet on, but that was just the current forward strip as of 9/25. shows the basis of Transco Zone 5 out through 2027. So, and we've got a much greater resource of history on that price. We've sold into that market for decades, and we can pretty well read the tea leaves, if you will, on the future strips going to look.
Okay. And what is your understanding of the plan going forward for gob gas within your company in terms of flaring versus production and sale,
Our plans are to continue to produce and sell.
for the reasons we've discussed?
Correct.
That's all I have on direct, and I'd offer this, well, it's a demonstrative exhibit, so I don't have to offer it.
Okay. Any questions you have?
Chairman, that's a lot of technical information. It's really expert opinion, which I didn't object. But I need 10 minutes to consult with my witnesses to figure out what that is and what we need to say about it. Maybe 15.
Okay, well,
Well, you know, I didn't get any time to assess the information that was given to me with regard to the options. I mean, I think people should be prepared for this. So, you know, I think we should move forward.
You had all of lunch.
all right, we'll take a 10-minute recess. So get back together here at 1:40. You able to get the other information from Mr. Swartz?
Josh just logged back in at 1:40.
Okay, we're back on record here. Come back from the break. I think, Mr. Street, if you're ready to proceed with cross-examination of the rebuttal witness. Whatever we call it.
Patrick's.
He's on phone.
Back. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Swartz, you're there. Can you hear us, Mr. Swartz? You're muted, by the way, and not videoed in. Well, Ms. Berry, can one of you all reach out to Mr. Swartz and see if he can rejoin us?
Yes, I just sent him a message.
Thank you.
Yes, there's some.
Okay, Mr. Swartz, we're ready to get started again. You can begin now, Street.
Mr. Ball, you may be on mute there.
Yep.
Mr. Ball, you indicated that you are aware of a study at your company about whether to use environmental credit revenue harvesting gob gas. When was that study?
I'm gonna say circa 2021, maybe after updated here.
So 5 years ago at least.
That's when it would have began.
Okay. And your company does generate quite a bit of environmental credit revenue on an annual basis, isn't that correct?
I believe so.
In 2024, your federal reports indicate that you generated $95 million in environmental attribute credits. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Are
Yeah,
you in? I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
If you're looking at the report and that's what it says, I believe you.
Okay, well, that number doesn't surprise you, or does it?
No.
Do you have any independent knowledge yourself, other than me suggesting that number? Did you know that already? What your environmental credit revenue was 2024?
Only if I look at the annual reports. It's not something I'm abreast of daily.
Would the answer be the same for 2025?
Approximately, probably around that ballpark.
What about 2024?
You just said what 24 was.
I'm sorry, you're right. 2023,
Couldn't answer that.
2022,
Couldn't answer that either.
same answer for 2021.
Yeah.
Did you know what your company's expenses were or capital expenditures were that were attributable to that environmental credit revenue stream for any of those years since 2020?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't know that? You're not in. What department is it at CNX that manages and oversees environmental credit revenue and cost accounting for that revenue stream?
But we're multi-regional, so it would depend on what region the credits were generated in. So it could be multiple different entities.
Okay. And can you name any of them, any department that does that?
Probably the accounting group would probably be a primary.
Okay. You're not in that group, are you, sir?
No, sir, I'm not.
Have you ever taken any, gone to a seminar or taken any classes to help you learn about environmental credit revenue generation?
Only independent, nothing structured through professional outlet.
And do you know whether or not there's a college degree for that? A study, a major, anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Have you kept yourself abreast of the, separate and apart from what you may have been asked to do to prepare for today's testimony? Have you kept abreast of the environmental credit side of the industry in the last 5 years?
Only in passing, as just a personal interest. I'd check it here and there, but nothing professionally.
Have you yourself ever successfully sold carbon credits that were generated on the California credit market, the CCO? Have you been involved in a single sale of those credits?
No, that would have been our marketing division.
And you referred several times to the quote capture and sale of short hole gas, right?
No.
And your direct testimony used the word capture a number of times. Did you realize that?
I did, but I never said short haul.
Okay, when you said capture and sale of something, what were you referring to?
Gob gas exclusively.
None of your testimony dealt with short hole gas?
Short hole gas was not part of my testimony. It may be in that gas, but the volumetrically compared to gob is so minuscule that the gob is my primary focus.
The case before the board right now involves Unit F-36. Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you
Granted,
know,
but
do you know if either of the competing applicants propose to capture and sell gob gas out of F-36?
I can't answer that.
Why did you use the term capture gas instead of produced gas? Or did you have a reason?
Capture, produce is synonymous, as opposed to flaring is not capturing.
Is that your personal opinion or is that the stance of your company?
Well, that's my personal opinion. But if you
You know
look at
what? I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't realize you were
oh
still
no,
talking.
you want to talk? Go ahead.
Yeah, would you like to finish? I'm sorry for interrupting you. I didn't
Okay.
intend to do that to you, sir. You done? That question?
I'm
Do you know
good.
what your company's official response position is on whether produce is the same thing as capture?
No, sir, I do not.
The exhibit that you provided to the board listed the price of what you call Transco Zone 5 Del South, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also on the NYMEX. Those are as of January of 2027.
Yes.
So that's your projection of what the price will be?
No, that's the market projection.
Okay. What is it right now? Well, let me back up. You've added the first two lines of 475 and 374 to get 849, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are those values right now? The two values that you added together to get 849. What's the current price for those two things?
I can't answer that without looking. I don't have that information flow on a daily basis.
Did you ever look to see what that was and for preparing and submitting this report to the board?
Yes, we shop it, and whenever we have to run an economic evaluation, we always get an update on that data from our marketing group. They provide it over on a strip basis for 12, 24, 36, 48 months at a time. So.
And have you been listening to the testimony today, all day?
No, sir, I joined late today.
Okay.
There
was testimony. Sorry, sir, go ahead. It's a little difficult over the screen to know when people are stopping, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what else did you have?
I said I had some other obligations. I wasn't able to join at start time.
Okay. Did someone tell you or were you prepared? Did you come to find out what the testimony this morning was about what the current spot price is for coal bed methane gas?
No, sir, I did not. I was honestly supposed to be at a funeral today and been able to make it.
Well, there was testimony from the executive vice president of upstream gas production that the current price is about $3 per MCF.
Okay.
Does that sound about right to you?
It's probably close, yeah.
Okay. It's definitely not $8.49, is it?
No, but we're also not in January in the winter months of the year where that gas is at a high demand either.
And so what is your degree in from college?
I've got a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and a master's in business.
And have you ever been recognized as an expert in any court of law to estimate or project the future price of gas or any other asset?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. Does your company internally, within the last 2 years, do they rely upon you to do that, to tell them what the future price of gas is going to be?
No, sir.
No one within your company consults you in business plans or contracting or negotiating to try to get your advice on what you think the gas price is going to be 2 years down the road. No one does that. right?
That's done out of our marketing group, which is where these numbers were provided from.
Oh, you just adopted numbers that someone else gave you internally. Is that what you're saying?
Our marketing group would get these numbers from the forward strip from the market it's provides.
Today, then you have no personal knowledge yourself, other than what you've been told as to the accuracy of that $8.49 number.
No, those
You
are
don't-
pretty solid figures provided from our marketing group.
I know that. I know you trust your marketing group, but I'm talking about you as the witness before the board today. Would you have been able to come up with that number yourself for the projection of coal bed methane gas or methane gas a year down the road?
If I would have pulled the strip, all what I've done was relied on the strip, which is what anybody in any company and industry would do.
Yeah.
Anybody.
But you did not do that, did you?
Our marketing group pulled the strip for me and sent it to me.
And you came before the board today to project the future price of gas, and you didn't even know what the current price of gas is. Isn't that correct?
The current price of gas is irrelevant to what the future strip is.
Where are we going with this, Mr. Street? I think he's made a representation of an apples to apples comparison of the future price of gas. If you have someone to refute that directly, let's get there rather than going with the road we're going right now.
Okay, well, I'll move on then. With respect to the estimated diversified carbon offset royalties for January of 2027. Again, those are projections from the future, right?
Estimates, yes. Excuse me.
Do you know what any of the current values are that as of today's prices for any of those things?
We're going down the same path here. I think that the chairman just invited you to move on.
Well, I did move on from the gas sales royalty, but I haven't addressed the other opinion that you elicited from your witness. I'm entitled to cross-examine the basis for his opinion, Mr. Schwartz.
You've already got the basis of his opinion and you're arguing with him.
You know that's not how it works. Tell me again what the passive mineral, I'm sorry. Yeah, tell me what the passive mineral interest 35% thing is.
That would be diversified's interest, the value basically returned to diversified.
Oh, that's okay. And is that where did you get that number from?
It's an estimate based on the expense that they would have to shoulder, to get that product, to a marketable point. Not being a seasoned entity in that space, it's going to cost quite a bit of money to be able to market and develop the value of that product.
Basically, you're just, it's your opinion that diversified through lack of experience is going to be inefficient in this, and you're just basically giving them a 15% haircut just because you don't think they can just do the job efficiently.
Well, no, I mean, I would give that to anybody that's never operated in that space, Mr. Street.
Yeah, but you've never done that either, have you?
We ran it all the way to the point that we could have, and we're going to do it ourselves. So
would it surprise you to know that Diversified is actually selling gas on the California carbon market right now on gas out of Kentucky and generating the $6 that they testified to today and not the $1.89 that you're testifying to?
No, sir. I didn't say it was
would not surprise you.
No, because
I'm going to object to that. The $1.89 is is a royalty number.
Is that right, Mr.
No,
Ball?
I'm sorry. I withdraw that. It's not the royalty number. It's the gross proceeds or net proceeds. Sorry.
No further questions.
If any more
You know-
testimony from either party,
Yeah,
this application.
well, I think Mr. Schwartz I don't know if he wants to call another witness, but that would be the order of the bench, but we do need to call a rebuttal witness to Mr. Ball.
I do not have any further questions of Mr. Ball, but I would like to call Kelly as a rebuttal witness to address one issue. Kelly, there was some discussion of where short hole gas might land in terms of royalty calculations and allocations. Where does, strike that, does short hole gas have a division of interest?
The short hole gas is collected at a point and then allocated back to the panel.
And then when that happens, just to pick, to go through their exhibits, if you look at PDF page 5 of 5 of the diversified application, let me get rid of one more thing here. They have, well, we're going to have to go back to the beginning, I guess. Okay, go back to page 24, okay?
Of their application?
Yes, of their application. You see at the top of page 24, it's got the gas estate, it has tract, ownership, acres, percentage of interest in unit, and then it's got a division of interest in panel 18 and panel 19 for each of the owners, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you do the same thing when you do this form.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me whether or not this allocation method captures the short hole gas that comes out of the panel?
Yes, it does.
And how is that?
We are provided a monthly report from Coronado of their degas numbers. The reporting that we get from Coronado also includes the length of each short hole. We multiply the length and the number of days that each short hole produced to get a total quote unquote foot days for each panel. And then we use this to allocate the measured production at the vent shaft back to each panel. So each panel is tied to its own division of interest. So the short hole gas is shared by all of the owners within each panel.
So if you were looking at a royalty report, you would not see a division of interest for short hole because it's included within the panel production.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Schwartz? You're muted again. You're still muted, Mr. Schwartz. You're muted.
Okay, and I'm also hard of hearing. I have nothing further. Thank you.
You have a redirect.
Cross. Right.
Cross, whatever.
I can understand why. So Miss Berry, Sarah, can you, the exhibit on royalty reports, do you have that now? I think she may have
I sent it to you.
emailed it to you.
The revenue statement, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Received it.
Somebody,
I was having problems downloading it.
Oh, downloading it.
Okay, what do you want me to do with it?
Can you
Ms. Berry?
put it up on so Miss Berry can see that?
That's what you wanted me to send it to, but I can send it to.
You can send it to.
I can get her email, I can send it to her and Mr. Schwartz if you'd like me to.
if you could include me, that would be great.
I'll send it to you, if you can send it to Mr. Berry, Miss Berry. Sorry.
I can send it to them.
Oh, you got him? Okay.
I can. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay.
So Miss Berry, it sounds like have you been listening to all the testimony this morning?
Yes, sir.
Today? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you heard us talk about the short holes that have been drilled per Coronada's plan, right?
Yes, sir.
And you heard me ask a little bit about a short hole that had been drilled into 36F that was concluded on September 21st, 2025.
Yes.
And so is gas from that short hole then would have reached vent shaft 15? Is that right? Once it started producing?
Yes.
And you heard what I said about it going up an 8-inch pipe to the surface. That's true, right?
Yes.
And then y'all have a meter at the top, right?
Yes, sir.
It's not metered before that point in time, is it?
No.
Okay. And then I guess that's all Coronada does all that. And once the gas gets the meter, that's where y'all take possession of it.
Yes.
Okay. So then when you sell it, it's my understanding from what you just said on direct that you then try to allocate a portion, you try to divide up the sales of that and allocate that back to each individual short hole based on the length of the short hole and the days that it was producing, right?
Yes, sir.
And you called that feet days?
Yes.
So for that particular short hole, September 21st, 2025 into F36, can you look at the royalty reports to Buchanan Energy for November, December, and January and identify where, if and when and how much they got paid royalties on that short hole gas?
On the report that's on the screen,
Right.
I would just need her to scroll through it so I can look at see the units. Okay, stop right there. Okay, do you see on the screen here at the bottom where it says 18 East panel?
We're not seeing that on our screen, but we can guess.
Page 2 is your.
Yeah, it's at the bottom portion of page 2. Oh, it went away.
It was there a minute ago.
It went away. There it is.
Now it left. There we go. It's back.
Yeah, it says 18 east panel, comma, unit. 18 east panel, comma, state, semicolon, Virginia, County Buchanan, and the operator.
Okay, so which one of those, line items is the amount that's paid?
I can't specifically tell you which line item. Buchanan has various tract interests in the 18 east panel and unit interests. But the total of what is being paid there is their allocated portion of that short haul gas.
So how did you determine how much to pay them if they have not yet been pooled and made an election in 36F?
It was based upon our existing exhibits reflecting their ownership.
Did you make royalty payments to the other interest holders in 36F? Other than Buchanan Energy?
I would
Based on-
assume so.
Okay.
I would assume so, yes.
Pay a straight 1/8 interest royalty to all of those folks?
I would believe so, yes.
Do you have an understanding about whether the Oakwood orders, including Oakwood 2, require payment of short haul gas based on something other than a 1/8 interest royalty if a certain election is made?
Yes.
Can you explain how you could make payments to interest holders in F-36 for short haul gas out of that short haul without knowing what election might have been paid?
We can always go back and update for a working interest if an election is made and pay those back funds that would be due.
How do you, so part of your title is permitting specialist, right?
No, I'm not a permitting specialist.
Okay, interest, tell me your title again, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Senior Analyst of Land Records and Division of Interest.
Division of interest, okay. So how do you produce gas out of, how do you sell short haul gas out of F-36? Or you pool it?
We're required to make payments when production occurs.
So you don't have to pool it?
No, that's not true. All of this has been in process since last June.
So is it your company's position then that y'all can develop short haul gas?
We haven't developed it. All that was done by Coronado.
Coronado, right? Coronado's done all the work, right? Y'all just grab the gas at the top of the shaft, right?
That's my understanding.
And then it's your company's position that you can take that gas at the top of that vent shaft and you can take it onto the market and sell it before you ever pool F-36.
I can't answer that question. I'm basing what has been done on this exhibit.
May I say so?
Yeah, but
You know, when you're talking about the coal mine, definitely, and talking about having straps on the ground, you have to understand mines, the whole ventilation system, where that gas originates and where it goes. Well, you're talking about stuff we don't have anything else to show us where that gas originates.
But she just
But
testified,
it doesn't
she
matter.
just testified that they produced it
It doesn't
and
matter
that they,
what would have happened to the gas that is captured, that would have been in the atmosphere, wouldn't nobody. That's a fact.
Well, I'm going to interject here that previously, there was testimony that the footage of the short holes in each short hole was converted to days of production so that you could accurately prorate the gas that's measured at the top of that vent shaft and get it back to the people whose acreage was producing the gas. So it's not like this is in a vacuum. There's an actual calculation that goes into allocating the short hole gas back to the correct unit. And there's no testimony to that and no question about it.
I can interject here. I think Mr. Street's point is that it's been the divisions in the board's historical operating procedure, practice that a board order is in place before the production goes into place. Is that your point? I think that's the point. That the board order should have been approved and in place before production started.
May I interject something here as the property owner?
Yes.
They have no right to be on Buchanan Energy's property. Till the board gives them the right under forced pooling, they have no right to be there.
And I would consider that a trespass, and you can go to circuit court to resolve that issue. You have an issue that needs to be resolved.
That is my point.
Yes.
I have one more question, I think, or maybe a couple of connected questions, Ms. Berry, and then Mr. Pruitt may want to cross-examine you, I don't know, but the formula that you've come up with, the foot days formula, right? That's how you basically allocate the short hole gas from vent shaft 15 back to the individual short holes in the panels, right?
Yes,
Okay, so for each subsequent short hole that gets drilled into a panel, you just add another distance and days, and you change the proportion, but it's still a proportional allocation back, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, and so that's a clever formula. Would that formula work just fine for a short hole that is drilled into a panel that's on a unit that Diversified operates? Because your formula is not dependent upon who has pulled the unit. It's just dependent upon the length of the short hole and the days that it's in operation. So couldn't you use that same formula to allocate gas production from vent shaft 15 back not only to different short holes, but to different short holes that may be in areas that are operated for short hole production by different operators? The formula would still work, wouldn't it?
I can't speak to what another company would do, but I would imagine so.
That's all I have.
Mr. Pruitt, did you have a question?
I have one or two questions. Ms. Berry.
Yes, sir.
You are aware from the prior testimony, even prior questions that I've asked you, that Buchanan Energy has a methane lease with Diversified.
Yes, sir.
And you're aware that the language of that lease gives Diversified the sole exclusive right to drill and to recover the gas
Yes,
on
sir.
their property.
Yes, sir.
And we've talked about the fact, I think you're aware that Pocahontas CNX has no independent title right to be there. And that's why we're in forced pooling now. Familiar with that? Recall that.
Yes, sir.
You have no deed to be on Buchanan Energy's property. Your company, not Yvonne. I'm sorry, I didn't make that personal. It was accidental.
Yes, sir.
Your company has no lease. I'm correct in that.
Correct.
And your company has no surface right agreement or any other agreement that gives them possession of Buchanan Energy's coal, gas, oil, or surface. Is that correct? That you're understanding?
That's my understanding.
You do operate as a contractor however, for Coronado. And
Yes.
as that contractor, you're allowed to vent the mine. And we don't object to that. You get the distinction that Buchanan Energy doesn't object to the venting of the mine.
Yes, sir.
The problem comes in when there is a recovery of the gas and it is marketed, because your company doesn't have the right to do that. At this point in time, they do not have the right to do that. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So when Coronado, in advance of their mining, has been pointed out, when they have to ventilate their mine, that's okay with us. And typically when that gas is liberated, if it's mixed with the atmosphere, it's kind of like the old law of capture. But here, the testimony isn't that, is it? It's corralled. It is collected in a pipe. It's pumped to the surface. The problem comes in is when your company takes over and markets it at that point. And if I understood your response correctly, you feel obligated to market it because it's been delivered to that point. Your company's going to take everything that's delivered to the surface, market it. Is that your testimony? Yeah, all the gas that's delivered to the surface on vent shaft 15 is marketed by your company.
I can't testify to that. That's beyond the scope of my involvement. But I do want to go back to the exhibit that was provided by Mr. Street. I believe he may have called it Exhibit 14, that shows the short holes. If you look at that map, those short holes are located in portions of units 37F and 37 or 38F, which already have approved pooling orders.
Yes, I understand that, but
Okay.
wasn't there testimony
Okay, I just
about
wanted to make
36?
sure we were on the same page.
Right. There was testimony about F-36. You understand that in the short hole in F-36.
Yes.
So let's go to your example in F-37. If you look at the dates on those short holes, they predate the pooling. Those dates are in September and October.
Production is paid on a 60-day basis.
And how does that affect the date the well was drilled? Is that not the date the short hole was drilled that's on the map?
The short holes are drilled by Coronado, so I can't testify to any information about that.
I guess my point here is if you're in position, your company's in position of marketing this gas that comes out of vent shaft 15, don't you have a certain responsibility to make sure that you have the rights to market the gas? Because you know the location of the short holes. And you know it, what is it, 1 or 2 years in advance between the mining and the actual permitting process? Permit in advance of mining by about a year or two?
Permitting of gob wells?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me shift gears here. How does Buchanan Energy determine who else is receiving gas from the top of V15 and calculate back to their own royalty. Is everything done by all parties contributing to that well in vent shaft 15? Is are all the calculations done on the basis you testified to?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So only short hole gas is going up that well.
Yes, sir.
And is that well permitted, vent shaft 15?
Yes, sir.
And does it have a pool of owners associated with that well?
I'm not involved with the permitting process.
How can Buchanan Energy determine what the pool is that determines their share of the short hole gas?
The pool is the panel.
So Buchanan Energy's gas out of a particular short hole, and let's say that for a period of time, 3 or 4 short holes in a row are on Buchanan Energy's property, and they're recovering that gas. Is it your testimony that that gas is not commingled with anyone else?
The process for allocating short hole gas is prescribed in the Oakwood 2 order under paragraph 7.1.
My question is it commingled before it reaches the surface with gas from other panels?
I can't answer that question.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Barry.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple of questions. Does Coronado, to your knowledge, permit short holes?
I don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay. What involvement, if any, does CNX have in drilling the short holes?
None.
What involvement, if any, does CNX have in collecting gas from the short holes underground?
None.
What involvement, if any, does CNX gas have in piping short hole gas from underground to the surface?
None.
That's all I have.
One follow-up question.
CNX is involved, isn't it, in permitting vent shaft 15 purposes of subterranean gas
That
production?
CNX submitted the permit application for VS 15 on behalf of Coronado.
Is it under Coronado's name or CNX's names?
I'm not sure.
I've looked at it and it's under CNX's name. Question.
Okay.
Is it permitted to produce short hole gas, gob well gas, or both?
I don't know the answer to that question.
As someone who does this regularly, would you expect that it should be permitted as a short hole gas well rather than a gob well gas well, given what you've testified to today?
I don't know the parameters of what.
Mr. Boyd, can you interject here on how that permitting process works to clarify for everyone on the vent shaft 15?
Yes, what we do to permit that, understanding that gas that's coming to the vent shaft, coming up the pipe, just coming from the short holes. What we actually permit in our division is the location itself, just the, basically where it comes up and where it's metered. We have to have one central place to meter it. And then that requires a monthly production report that comes into our office from that central point.
If CNX is using vent shaft 15 pipe to capture short hole gas, should it be permitted as a short hole gas?
We permit it as typically, it would be similar to like a CBM, like a coal bed methane well, the same process on the permitting. We don't specify it's a short hole gas or it's coal bed methane gas.
This particular permit is issued as a gob well permit.
It would be, yeah, because it's gas coming.
Why would it be a gob well permit if it's not producing gob well gas?
It's actually, this gas is coming from the short holes. It's coming from the panel and it's allocated across the panel like gob gas. So it would be more similar to gob gas than what would actually be frac gas. So it's mingled in with the gob gas. What we would look at, the way you pay payment under the Oakwood 2, short hole and gob gas.
Oh, if it's indicated as a gob well, it's because you contemplate using the Oakwood 2 formula.
Yeah, correct.
It's using the same allocation methodology to calculate the gas.
Yes.
So if there were two operators in any panel, and they had access to the same information that Coronado has provided on the location, the timing of each of these short hole wells, anyone could calculate your allocation back per panel or to a unit basis if you do. The information is there. I just don't think it's that kind of detail is not provided in this revenue statement. But that information is available if you request it. I'm assuming they can provide that.
And of course, our position is that we do not object to venting, any venting, and Coronado certainly has the right to reach into. That's why I pointed out that it's marketed surface.
Right.
They don't have that. And the question is, can we actually get an accurate figure of that gas? And it appears that we can if we work our way backwards through the panel and the pool of that panel.
Yes, you should be able to, if you have access to all this information, you should be able to reproduce the same calculations that they're producing.
We don't see any variance in the different short holes on their revenue report. It's all one number.
I think that's just a total monthly number.
And it's the same number over. Yeah, different applications.
Talk about over every month, it's the same number.
Yes.
That
no.
Yes.
Production numbers. So
yeah, over the group, the production number is identical.
we have 4 payments. So we have 4 payments on the 18 East plant. And the production number is the same with the 4.
33.36 4 times.
4 times.
That would be a question that somebody from Pocahontas Gas would have to answer on how their revenue statement is formulated here. I don't know that. I don't have it.
Thanks.
Anything else on this docket item?
Yes, one question. Kelly, would Buchanan Energy have received notice of the permit application for that shaft?
I would have to look at the unit for the vent shaft to know that.
You did not. I didn't think we did.
Because it's, I believe the permit application is based on the surface area of where the hole is located.
But it's within a dimension of that, and I guess is Buchanan Energy a surface owner above the vent shaft or at the vent shaft?
I don't believe so. Did we say it was in unit H36?
Yes. Our evidence is we did not receive notice.
I don't believe they're a surface owner in that H36 unit where the vent shaft 15 hole was permitted.
Okay, that's all I have.
And Mr. Chairman, that's a problem because the pool is
Understand.
that surface. So
This is an issue. The only way to remediate this type of issue is through an enforcement action through the division. Point in time, we'll have to have some further investigation and discussion to see how that should be handled. Does that sound reasonable, Mr. Scruby?
Cardiology?
Yes,
I don't either.
I mean, the alternative here is to, you know, Coronado spends the money and the time and effort to collect all this gas, gets it to the surface. And I gather the point that we're hearing here is we should have vented it. Or Coronado should have vented it.
No, I think the point is here, Mr. Swartz, that you should have had a pooling order in place before the short hole wells were drilled and started to produce.
There were pooling orders in place for F37 and F38.
But not F36.
Yes, which we submitted back in June.
Understand? That's where the enforcement action would have to take
Yes, sir.
place. So, okay. Okay, I think we're at the point for a summation on this application.
Couple things. One is I need to call Jonathan Hess to rebut the information from Mr. Ball about his projections. And two, on the summation thing, last time we were here, we could change all this, but I think we we're gonna do it all at one time, but,
All the units.
however you want to do it.
That was the
Yeah.
agreement. We're gonna
Okay,
do
that's
it
fine.
once.
We can do a summation at the end, all these units, that's fine. I've lost track. How we did it.
Easy to do here.
12-9.
All right, so I want to ask you a few questions in response to what Mr. Ball said about, his company's decision not to generate environmental credits off oil gas. Okay,
Christian,
and say that again, Mark.
sorry, I
Okay, you were muted. Thought you were muted.
tried to not answer a call here. I'm
Go
muted
ahead.
now.
Take your call.
Now, I'm muted now, so you're good to go.
Miss Gilmer, would you mind bringing up that exhibit that you test ran a minute ago? We can't see it.
No, that we were that, but she has to, she shows me.
We all have copies of it. You can work from that.
This is a different thing.
Oh, it's Mr. Hess's.
We don't have a
So I'm
hard
just
copy.
wondering if emails it to you guys. Is that what you're talking about?
I can email it.
Is there a way to put it up on the screen so we can all see it at one time?
It's pretty simple.
Like, can they see it too?
No.
Yeah, see it too.
That's what I was, can we email it to the board members and then share it with them? That's what I was wondering. It's not.
Well, while we're, I guess, waiting, let me just start real quick. Maybe we can save a little time. The demonstrative exhibit that CNX showed the board a few minutes ago while Mr. Ball was testifying, it was really broken down into two parts. One was a projection of royalty payments based on carbon credit royalties in the future, January 2027, compared to a projection of royalties based on just pure gas sales also in January 2027. And Mr. Ball utilized a projected price of gas of $8.49 for this January 2027 date, right?
Yes,
And what is the price of gas right now compared to $8.29?
$3.
Okay. And so it sounded like Mr. Ball pulled that number from another source. Do you know what other source that was?
Testified it was his marketing strips.
Okay. And have you looked something up on the computer to help us understand what the future projection is for gas and how that relates?
Couple of things. Yes,
Is that it up on the screen right there?
this is January 26th, but this shows the market cycles. It does peak in January, February, and March in that market, and then it falls off.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Every January, do you see a spike like that?
For the past 10 years or so, yes.
So if you want to find the highest gas price in a given year, you cherry pick, right? Cherry pick the price in January.
Yes.
Right. And so if you were to do that, that would let you pick this inflated number of $8.49.
Yes,
but that's not representative of what the average price is throughout the year, right?
Correct.
Okay, I know you want to talk, but I want to talk more, so just bear with me. So on the environmental credit side, that's the first part of what he said. And he, of course, he's never done it before. Have you ever done this? Have you ever sold generated carbon credits and sold them on the market?
Yes, we are actively doing it. Yes.
You diversified?
Yes.
Okay. And this morning it was either you or maybe it's Mr. Tetrick that testified roughly $5 to $6 per MCF for environmental credits.
Yes, sir.
Is that a number that you've just simply projected out in the future based on what someone that's not even here has suggested to you? Or is that a hard number that you have actually can demonstrate through your own actual sales at the company?
Through our own actual sales on the Kentucky project.
Okay, so you have a Kentucky project at Diversified. You are doing the same thing you're talking about here, which is you're going on to the CCO market and you're selling environmental credits and you're getting $5 to $6 per MCF.
Yes, sir.
And that's no projection. That's exactly what's happening in real life.
It's actually.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
I have a couple of questions. We've checked the Kentucky records and we don't see that Diversified Production has any permits to operate flares in Kentucky.
What's your question?
Is that true?
We are partnered with Pine Mountain Resources.
Okay, who has the permit?
Pine Mountain Resources.
Okay, and how much are you paying Pine Mountain Resources to operate that for you?
We are equity partners in all the projects.
And what's their percentage?
Their percentage varies by the project and their equity contribution.
Well, is it at least 35%?
In some cases, yes.
Is it more than 35% in other cases?
Yes.
So Mr. Ball's projection with regard to passive mineral interest of 35% is a reasonable estimate as to what you're going to be paying somebody else to provide flaring?
No, sir, he's netting and grossing across there. Gotta stay gross, you gotta say net.
So the 35% that you're giving to Pine Mountain for flaring in Kentucky, is that 35% of the gross or 35% of the net that you're paying to them?
Objection to the form of the question. I don't think he testified they're giving anything away. They're, as I understood what his testimony was, they're just partners in a business together on an equity basis, and it varies. I mean, it's just a partnership. I don't, that's a mischaracterization, I think, of what he was saying.
What is Pine Mountain's equity, their investment, dollars and cents?
These are pretty cheap projects. They're in the tens of thousands range.
I'm sorry, what?
Tens of thousands range for total capital projects. They're pretty cheap.
And yet they're operating it and receiving 35% in many instances for their efforts.
They receive an equity share for their efforts, yes.
That's all I have.
So I believe we've concluded all the testimony we're going to hear on this docket item. Is that correct?
Yes.
Call the next item. Do we need to take a break?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. That's it.